Are you ready?
Oh, we've been rolling.
Okay, good.
Oh, is it?
And we're on. Well, hello and welcome to the Meet Your Species podcast. My name is Heath, and today we've got Vaisu. For those of you who don't know Vaisu, he's just a wonderful human being, and we've known each other since 2019, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and you actually met Shrav before that.
Yes.
So I think it might be nice to start with just like that Mahashivratri. You could just tell what that was like. Maybe explain what Mahashivratri is in case someone doesn't know.
Oh, I think you should explain what is Mahashivratri.
Okay, so in India, there's this celebration that happens, and it's like a party all night long. Yeah. And the reason is because they say the way the earth spins, there's like a natural upsurge of energy, which is good for spiritual growth. So India being the kind of country that was built around spiritual growth as like one of the most core parts of the culture, they just made a party out of it so everyone would stay awake and make use of this, which I think is a really cool thing. Like everyone has parties, but they have parties that are also parties for like your well-being, which is a crazy concept to me. Yeah. But anyway, that's a thing. And the Isha Foundation, which is where, which kind of glued us all together, they have one of the biggest parties in the country. Probably the biggest, right?
The biggest, I think. Yeah. After Kumbh Mela, I think it's the biggest.
It's absurdly big.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first one, I was like, how are there this many people? And I was like, wait, I'm in India. Okay. Anyway, so that's in a very brief nutshell what it is. So tell the story of how you met Shrav.
Yeah, so every year during Mahashivratri, I go to Isha Foundation at least 1 week before for volunteering. So there are many activities going on over there. So there is this Yaksha festival, that is classical dance and music, which happens I think 2 to 3 days before the main Mahashivratri event. So I was volunteering there to arrange chairs, you do whatever is needed over there. Mm-hmm. So at that time, I think Sravanyaka and me were volunteering together. We were arranging chairs. She was not arranging chairs, I was arranging chairs, but we were in the same department. So maybe like we were volunteering, and on the day of Mahashivratri we were put in the same activity, that is guest care. So a lot of guests, like VIP guests, come during Mahashivratri to perform on the stage. So we were in the green room where we need to arrange their food, their whatever is needed for them. So we were volunteering there, and Sravanyaka made us work totally hard.
Worked you to death.
Yes, worked us to death. So that's how me and Sravanyaka met. I remember. So the Mahashivratri starts from 6 p.m. and it goes till 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. So the entire 12 hours we were behind in the green room, and by 5 a.m. I was almost dead, but Sravanyaka was still on, I still remember. So we wanted to shift certain furniture from one room to another, and I was like, I need to go home, I'm not doing this. But Ravana was like, no, we are doing this, and she actually started lifting all the things up. So she was, I think, trying to lead by example. So
you were very motivated.
To get the work done.
Yeah. So again, we shifted it into that other area, and later one Swami came and he was like, why did you shift that? You didn't need to shift that. I'm like, Sravanyaka, I told you so, we don't need to do that. So that's how me and Sravanyaka came in touch with each other. Yeah. So since then, I think I used to message her once in a while. And how did we meet? That's what I'm thinking.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I just remember at that time I was getting into like social media and all this kind of stuff. I was making some YouTube videos, and I was in Bali, and I had somehow been able to convince some places to even let me stay for free if I made them some video content and stuff like this. I was getting all into it. And then I kept hearing about this Vaisu kid who's got his YouTube channel where he's just interviewing people. And so I checked it out. I was like, oh, he's just sitting with one of those little lapel mics and just like, it was really funny. But good content. Yeah. Because I mean, you've got this like kind of a engaging kind of energy. And I think at that time, Isha had a social media presence, but it was still not like it was just starting to grow in a big way, but there was still not like the kind of content they've had since then. And so I think there was a definite need that you were filling for like people that were interested in. So there's this program, Inner Engineering, which you obviously know, and that's the like introductory program for Isha. And there's not many people that were giving like a real, what's that experience?
Of that, yeah.
And you filled that niche, and I think that's what like really gave you a good start.
Yeah.
So why did you, you know what, well, let's get to the podcast later.
Okay.
I want to start with you though.
Okay.
So let's go all the way back to little Vaisu.
Okay.
Where are you from?
So I'm from this place called Kerala in India. It's called God's own country. Super green and a lot of rivers, a lot of beautiful places, beautiful women, beautiful men. Yeah, a lot of awesome food. Our Kerala Sadhya is really famous. Like in marriages, you get this rice with like 20-30 dishes and 4 sweet dishes.
That's too much.
Yeah,
30?
it's like 15-20, I think, around.
Do you have like one little piece of chana from each one, or like what?
Yeah, a little bit they'll serve. So yeah, some like 5-6 small dishes, a little bit medium, then large. So you have like, see, my mouth is watering. I'm not able to talk. Yeah. So
I'm picturing, do you know, have you seen the movie The Grinch with Jim Carrey?
no.
Okay, never mind. Let's leave that example. Anyway, so I've only been to Kochi? Yeah. And we, like Shrav and I were just traveling, and I think we had a flight from Bali, because you can only stay for like a month or 2 in Bali and then you have to leave and come back. So we flew, the cheapest flight was to Cochin. So we were just there for like a little bit before our return flight. And we just got some food, and there was this coconut curry deliciousness. Do you remember what we had?
Something with coconut.
I don't know.
Everything
It was by
has
the
coconut
airport.
there.
It was, I loved it because, you know, I've been around India and there's lots of delicious food in India. No question about that. But I love coconuts. And so to find the coconut curry heaven was like, oh my God, I have to be here more. Plus the banana chips, because you guys do a lot of banana
Yeah,
chips.
banana. There's a special kind of banana, and I think you can make the banana chips only out of that. And that grows only in Kerala.
You guys have the monopoly.
Yeah, we have the monopoly. Even the tastiest fish, yeah, you get tasty seafood also there. There's one particular fish, it's called pearl spot. It's supposed to be, my mom tells me that it's the tastiest fish in the world. I don't know about that, but it's very tasty.
Well, I guess if you're in India and you, at least at some point, that would have been the whole world. So
Yeah.
we'll take it.
Yeah.
I remember a friend, Maria, who's a photographer. She went over to Kerala and was taking pictures of the tea plantations.
Yes.
I thought those were so pretty.
Yes.
Like just the landscape of the place, and
it's
those
beautiful.
riverboats and
Yeah.
You guys
Houseboats,
have- Yeah, you guys have lots of great tourist locations.
It's actually a very beautiful tourist location. Like I think Kerala can survive on tourism itself. It's just it needs to be developed.
Except during COVID.
Yeah.
So, what is like paint a sort of mental picture, like for someone who's never been to India or even Southeast Asia. What is Kerala like? What's it like to grow up there?
So the truth is, I haven't grown up in Kerala.
Oh,
so,
wow. Never mind.
Yeah. I have grown up in the Gulf country, like, Dubai. So everyone knows Dubai. That's why I gave the reference Dubai. But now I think Qatar will also be famous because the next World Cup is happening over there. So I grew up in Qatar most of my young age because my dad was working over there. So yeah, like childhood was all about, it's like it's very hot over there. So you basically live in a small flat with your parents, and then you go to school, you come back, that's it.
In the AC.
Yeah, in AC. It's like full like that. So that was basically my childhood, like, going to school, coming back, doing studies. Yeah. So
You didn't like go out and play with friends? And play
no,
sports?
not that much actually. Like it's so hot over there, you can't actually play. Like
It's too hot for
it's
friends.
too hot. Only during winter times. But yeah, I think that's where my story begins also. So I personally did not like studying that much, but my mom wanted me to study, because if you somehow, I think it's there a little bit in the Indian thing that if you don't study and if you don't get good marks, you won't reach anywhere in life. So for her, the emphasis was on, studying. So I studied a lot, but for me personally, I just wanted to roam around, chill with friends. And I would see them going to mass, going to theaters. So I wanted to do that, but I never got to do that. So that is my picture.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So should I go on with that, or like you
Yeah,
have?
I mean, like, what? Tell me, like, if you spend most of your time with your parents, what are they like?
Oh, they are like super nice people. Like they care for me a lot. Like for me, I'm the only son, so my parents, the entire life revolved around me. So because of that, they were really overprotective. Like they were protective, overprotective in my sense. For them, it's just like they were just caring for their child. Yeah. From my perspective, like I couldn't get to do the things that I wanted because they're like, oh, this is dangerous. Don't go in water. That is dangerous. They were just trying to protect me like parents. But for me personally, I think it was very limiting. I wanted to do a lot of things at that time. Looking at friends, they would do things. Now when I look back at it, I'm glad that I didn't do many of those things. But at that age,
Like what?
like I don't know, they would go to shops, they would steal things and all.
Like your other people?
Yeah, yeah, because at that time, stealing from malls and all, it's like a big thing. I'm like, oh wow, these are cool guys. But I'm glad I didn't do that. I would have caught by the police mostly. So all kind of things. They would hang out with girls and all. I never, like, for me it was like, no, all girls are like your sister. You should,
Girls are like your sister?
Yeah. And and the worst part is I studied in a boys' school. So there's like this boys' wing. Then in between there's like a junior wing where kids are, and then the girls' wing is so separate. So you never get to see the girls. Only once in a while when there is some sports meet or happening, there's a big assembly in which girls come and we're like, oh my god, who are these people? And for me also, like I used to go from my home to the school in a cab. Like there was a private cab arranged for me. So I would go there. Usually how kids would go there was like they would have big buses. So at that time they would interact with ladies, women and all that. But for me that was not even the case. So I never interacted with women from a young age. So that led to a lot of issues within me, like how to interact with women. So yeah. So that is one of the issues that I faced as a young kid, like how to talk with girls, how they are, like how to see them as friends. There is something more than just, like seeing them sexually or something. They're just like other human beings. They can be your friends. So that is something as a young kid I never understood. So led to a lot of issues within me. So yeah, so one of the issues was one of the issues. Then a lot of studying. So what happened is, I was the first in my class. I was the topper in my class. I always used to score very good marks. But how this happened was I never used to focus. Like when I was sitting for a class, I would never focus in the class. Like the teacher would be teaching something. I was not interested in it. I was interested in throwing papers or doing something in the back, fighting with kids. That was what I was interested in. So I was not really a topper. But when I went back home, I would sit and study for 2 to 3 hours continuously, like daily studying. Like textbook used to be so huge, but I would literally by heart each of the textbook. I was so good with that. So when the exams come, even though I never focus in the class, I would easily score good marks. There was one subject with which I was really good because of my dad. It was mathematics. So mathematics you can't basically by heart. You need to have a good base in it. So one thing, my dad used to teach it in a very nice way. Like even though there's this thing, like I think when you go from 9 to 10th or something, or 8 to 9 something, algebra comes. So algebra is something, A square, B square.
Why are there letters?
Oh my god. This is like but luckily my dad was already chilling, like it's very simple. It's nothing you need to focus. And he just gave me the basics and I understood like maths is not so hard. So maths is one subject that I really, really loved and would like to study. So that also I used to score well. But what happened was, I started getting I think, let me think about it. Once this happened, I lost my train of thought. What was I wanting to say? Just give me a moment. Yeah, like I'm just thinking where it started, like where my exam fear started. Yeah, so basically my exam fear was, I used to score almost 100 out of 100 in all subjects, like 99 out of 100, 95 out of 100. So my stress started that I was worried I would get any less score than 100. That was my stress. My stress was not that I would fail or anything. So once something like I went to an exam and I couldn't answer a question or something like that happened, I'm just trying to figure it out. And I came back home and I told my mom, I couldn't write this thing. And she was like, that's fine, you don't get stressed, even if you get low marks, it's fine, you just don't get stressed. So I think that got into my mind, like if I become a bit stressed, my mom won't care that much about marks. You get where I'm coming this? As a kid, that was like kind of like, oh, so if I show stress, my mom won't care that much about studies.
Because she doesn't want you to be stressed.
Yeah.
She's a mom. Right?
Yes, she's a mom. So then what happened was slowly, I think as a mechanism, this started happening with me. I wanted my mom's care and love more. And so that she would tell me, don't focus on studies, you do whatever, like before exam she would say, okay, it's okay not to study, you do something else. So if I realize that,
go steal some stuff.
Yeah. So I realized if I show a little bit of anxiety or something like that, her focus from studies will come down. So what happened was, this started happening more. Like initially it was just with one exam paper I would show stress, then slowly I started showing it for all papers. As a kid, I did not understand it was a mechanism within me. It was automatically happening from one to one. So one fine day, like this was happening, my mom asked, okay, you are only getting stressed for exams. What's happening? Oh, like, oh, that's true. Why am I getting stressed for exams? So what happened was, I started getting stressed for other things also. Like let's say I dropped a glass. Then I'm like, oh mom, is this okay? I dropped a glass. Are you okay with it? Like it slowly started appearing in each and everything. Like whatever I would do or think, let's say I had a thought about a girl, like let's say I saw a movie in which there's a girl or something, I saw it and I like, oh, I saw this girl, then I had to run to my mom and ask her, I saw this girl like this, is that okay, mom?
Oh, like need permission or something?
Yeah, something like that. Like it was like a very unhealthy kind of mechanism within me, where for each and everything I had to go and ask my mom. Like just imagine, like anything you think or anything you want, you have to get the permission of your mom. So it was getting so much kind of like a compulsive thing within me. So it reached to a certain point that, my mom was also getting frustrated. What's with this kid? Like he's keeping on asking each and everything. So that's when initially they thought like, at that time mental health issues, so this was not like,
no
as it is, no one talks about it. So it's a very like, no one in the family talks about it or anything, but still they cared for me a lot. So they were open to the idea. Like they took me to a psychologist in when like we used to come for vacations. Like we used to have like 2-month long vacations in between summer breaks and winter breaks. That's what they were called.
Where would you go?
Kerala.
Oh, you come to Kerala.
Kerala, okay. Yeah, we come to Kerala. So they took me to a few psychologists. So they gave me certain exercises, but still it was not working, because for me, the kid within me, on one way I was suffering, on the other way I was a little bit happy also. I think right now I can think about it from a distance. I was happy also, because when I'm acting stressed, I don't need to study. Not at all studying. They're like, you do whatever you want. If study is giving you just leave it. So
all of this just to not study.
Yeah, so it was a very unhealthy combination of things which was promoting my behavior. So finally they talked to a family doctor, and that doctor said, why don't you take him to a psychiatrist? Like taking to a psychiatrist is just like any other thing. If you have a fever, you go to a doctor. Similarly, if you have a mental health issue, you go to a psychiatrist. So yeah, so that's what he said, and my parents finally agreed, because initially for them, taking to a psychiatrist was like a little bit of a taboo. More than a taboo, I don't think it was a taboo. More than a taboo, they were worried, like taking medications, is it good? They don't know. So I remember they took me to this psychiatrist in the city in Doha. It was a lady, a very nice lady. So she had certain questionnaire and all. And there's some questions like, what would you do if you had this? What's your age? All these things, you just need to fill it. And at the end of the questionnaire, I think it was some kind of psychometric test or something. And she said, I have obsessive compulsive disorder and depression. So that's what, according to that test, I got categorized as. And she said I would need to take this drug called Prozac. It's a medication that you're given for depression. So yeah, so now when I look back at it, I instantly felt a relief when she said you have depression and there's a chemical imbalance in your brain and you did not need to worry. Now when I look back at it, instantly I felt a relief when she said that, because it was taking away responsibility from me.
Oh,
I was no longer responsible for what I was facing.
It's the thing.
It's the thing. It's not me. It's not because of my parents' thing for studies. It's not my mechanism. It's just like a disease, just like a virus. That's what I was getting. So I was given this medicine called Prozac. I still remember taking it. because till then I was having intense emotions. I would feel like intensely, like simply sitting, I would cry because I don't know what's happening. If I wanted something, like at that time I had a craze for watches. I wanted a steel strap watch, because at that time I think 50 Cent and all were going big.
Were you big in the rappers?
Yeah, I was like 50 Cent. I would listen to them. So I wanted a steel strap watch. So I was like, how will I ask mom? How will I ask dad to get me a watch? So I started, I'll do this. I'll start crying. And then, mom, I want a watch. Is that okay if I ask for a watch? So that kind of thing.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, they can't say anything. They got me a watch. Yeah. So I remember taking this medication and immediately I felt numb. In 2 days, I felt numb. Like I wanted to cry, but I'm not able to cry.
Oh, like emotionally you're numb.
Yeah, I'm emotionally numb. I'm like, wow, at that time I was like, wow, this is nice. Because rather than feeling sad or depressed, it's okay to feel numb at that point of time for me. And for me, I liked going to that psychiatrist because that was the first person with whom I could share anything I want. I could talk about girls. I could talk about my issues in class, because I'm from a little bit conservative family. We do not talk much to our parents like that. We, like I have never got sex education or, all these things. Like these are like, I was at that adolescent age where my hormones are, pumping up. When I look at a woman, certain things are happening with me. I'm like, what the fuck is happening within me?
So even in school, they don't have anything like that?
There is just one, in our 10th standard, there's just one chapter on reproductive health. And that also, like, we kids are like, oh my God, let's read this first.
Same in India.
That's it for you? Oh my God.
It's the same Indian syllabus, CBSE. And sometimes the teachers even skip that lesson, I heard. Like,
really?
Yeah, they're like, okay,
We're not talking about this.
you'll study it on your own.
You pervert.
Yeah. So she was the first person, like, with whom I could share these things, like what are these things happening within me. And so for me, more than the medication, finally I found someone with whom I could share my things and all. So that was why I liked her so much. I was very dependent on her. Like whatever she said, that was like the thing for me. But what I didn't realize was at that time was this medications I was taking, it was on a very high dose. So I'm not against medication or anything. I'm sure it helps a lot of people and it's needed. But these medications actually had a side effect, and I had the side effect. Like, so one time I was watching movie with my parents. I was sitting in the theater and I blacked out. I just blacked out like that. The next thing I'm opening my eyes, I'm in the hospital with a splitting headache.
Collapsed, gone.
Yeah, I just collapsed. I don't even remember collapsing. My scene is I'm watching this movie. I'm gone. Next thing I remember slightly, I'm in the car with a headache and my parents are talking something, and then I'm in the hospital. Someone is putting on a trolley stretcher with a splitting headache into the MRI scan.
Oh.
And then only I slowly I'm remembering. So later my mom told me, like, you just blacked out. Like at that time, as a family, we used to go for a movie, but I would go and sit alone because that was kind of thing. Oh, I'm sitting alone and watching a movie. That was like a big thing for me. I'm like, why did I do that? I could have just sat. But yeah, so
that must have been scary for them, huh?
Yeah, that must have been really scary. Like I still remember there was a particular movie, which was that Malayalam movie, Anantapatram something. So still when that movie comes on the screen on TV, mom gets really stressed.
Oh, really?
Because she associates that movie with my issue. Yeah, that's a very nice movie, beautiful movie. But yeah,
too bad for the movie.
Yeah. So at that time, I still remember. So my parents called this doctor who I was seeing at that time, and they asked her, like, I have never had a history of seizures. I basically had a seizure. I blacked out because I had a seizure. So they asked her, like, what happened to him? So she's like, it can't be side effect of the medication. It has to be something genetic. Maybe you check. So when you look at the genetic way, if you go back, someone or other in your family might have had some issue. Okay. So she said, yeah, that's the issue. So, but it was quite obvious it was because of the medication. Because once my mom told me, like when I was going into the MRI scan, there was actually a young doctor out there in that hospital. So he was just looking through my history and like, oh, this guy, he's taking Prozac. Is he having some issues? And he's like, this medication is very well known to cause seizures. Really? He's a very new doctor and he knew it. And he said that. But the psychiatrist said, no, it can't happen.
Was she older?
She was very experienced.
Yeah. Do you think maybe it's because like... new drugs come all the time, and if you're newer, maybe you learn about the current stuff, and if you're older, maybe you didn't get updated.
More than that, like once I was out of this issue, I started learning about psychiatric drugs also. So the very thing is like see, for every disease, we have a test. Like, let's say you have a virus in your body, you have whatever, you can take a blood test and show it. For a mental health issue, they say you have a serotonin imbalance. So that is why you are given SSRI, that is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. That's what they are called. So they say, when you take this medication, your serotonin returns to the normal balance. But if you go to any psychiatrist, when they categorize you as depression or anything, they never give you a blood test or anything. Even if you ask them, okay, you say that my serotonin is less or my dopamine is less, can you give me a blood test or some kind of test? It doesn't exist.
There's no way to test.
There's no way to test. The only way to test is like when some person dies, you grind their brain and then you will know.
You
like
grind their brain?
Yeah, you grind their brain and then only you can know how much is each of the
What level chemicals?
what level chemicals are there. There are some very complicated tests you can have heard, but those are available only in the top. Like, those are not available to people, regular people. But every day they categorize millions of people,
So they're what, guessing?
It's a whole another thing. So it's basically a stunt, to promote the medication and all. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want the podcast to go there. That's why I'm like just saying
No, interesting.
yeah.
I have to look that up.
Yeah.
So, how did your parents feel about this when you were going through all that?
Yeah. Now when I look back at it, I thought I was stressed. They must have been even more stressed because I was their only son, and seeing their only son suffering is not I don't think it will be easy on any parent, especially for my mom and dad. They love me like so much. Like, for them, I am their world. So it must have been so hard for them. But they were quite strong during all this. They would support. And for me, luckily, my mom has a twin sister also. So I lived in So I lived in a combined family.
Twins are in the family.
Yeah.
You might have twins.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. So luckily, since ours is a combined family, there's a lot of family support. Even my mom and dad, they had support from my aunt, my uncle. They also used to live with us. So there was a huge support from them also. So we decided to leave Qatar because, better treatment is available in India.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Compared to like all foreign countries, like Indian doctors, because population, Indian doctors actually do hands-on. Even when they're going through MBBS, if it's from a government hospital, they see thousands of patients. Thousands of patients with real diseases. So they have hands-on experience. But I've seen in Doha, when some of my friends went for MBBS, they actually have simulated patients, like a patient acts as if he has a disease.
Oh, and then you try and diagnose
it. But in India, you get thousands of people with real disease. So in India, the healthcare is also low. And we have so much alternative like Ayurveda, Siddha, Homeo, so much variety of, treatment processes, holistic processes. And also the doctors are quite experienced. Some of the top mental health institute like NIMHANS, I think it's the second in the world. It's in India only. So
How would you describe I'm guessing just like India, Qatar has probably changed quite a lot since you were a kid. How would you describe Qatar at that time when you're going through all of this? Like as a place?
Qatar is a nice place. It's quiet. If you want to have a quiet life, if you want to just do your thing, earn money, save, it's a very nice place. It has all the amenities. Even the Qatari government is very good to expatriates. Like, personally, from my experience, it has been very good. My dad had a very good government job, like good family, friends. Indian. There are a lot of mostly Indians, especially from Kerala. In the Gulf countries, if you go, you don't need to know English or Arabic. You just need to know your mother tongue, which is Malayalam. Someone or the other is a Malayali over there. So it's a nice place, I think it's a super nice place. At that time, I did not enjoy it because my internal world was not good. But when I look at it now, when I go to Qatar now, it's a beautiful place. You can just be there. It's nice. And because of the World Cup that's happening, they are having a huge infrastructure change. It's
That's
nice.
cool.
Yeah. Lots of exposure for sports and everything. They promote all that. So a lot of good gymnasium. They're building a lot of awesome sports stadiums and all that. Like top class amenities at a very cheap rate you will get. Like world class amenities you will get over there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we decided to leave Qatar and come back to India for me to get a better treatment. So there was one doctor in Kerala. He's from NIMHANS, the National Institute of Mental Health, which is supposed to be the second best in the world. So he graduated from there with some gold medal or something like that, and he's been
gold
practicing.
medal?
Yeah,
Like
the
doctors
topper in the
get gold
class.
medal?
Yeah, the topper in the class get gold medals.
I didn't know you get a gold medal.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, I think so. You get, I think.
Kerala has a lot of gold.
I mean, but a doctor getting a gold medal for being top in the class? Okay. I mean, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
It's just
Gold
interesting.
medal. Yeah, gold medal certificate, something.
Who gets silver?
Yeah. No. So, yeah, he was very famous in Kerala, supposed to be the best. So I was taken to him, and what he said was, it's only because of the Western medication. Prozac is something in the US, it is mostly used. So we can use the Indian variant of that. So he just put me, he did not change much. He just put me on the Indian variant of that.
generic.
But at least a lower dose. Because I think in Qatar I was given a very high dose, like super high dose. But here I was put in a lower dose. But here I would like to tell something which most people don't say. Like whenever I see in the media, what people show is going to a psychiatrist is like a very comforting process. You just go there, you sit and talk. But that was not the experience for me. It was a very bad experience, not only for me, but for my parents. Like when you book an appointment, you're told you come at, let's say, come at 11 a.m. Okay. So doesn't mean you get to meet the doctor at 11 a.m. You go sit there. There are like 20-30 people waiting over there. You don't know when he will call you. So you're just sitting there for 2 to 3, 4 hours simply.
Hours?
Yes. Hours.
Are there just too many people, or like?
No, there's no structure there. Like he calls whoever he wants. Let's say some random someone with medication. What do you call a sales representative? Come, they will go first. He'll talk with them, and
So it's not like a proper appointment.
it's not a proper appointment. I don't know why he was doing that, but it was not there. So it was a harrowing experience. Let's see. See, I'm having an issue. So my mom is stressed out. Okay, she just wants a solution. That's why she's bringing her kid there. Now they are not telling her when he can see the doctor or when, and especially the receptionists, they have this power thing, like we decide who goes in. I don't know whether it was a doctor or like they have this thing. So my mom needs to cajole with them and talk with them. Hey, my son is like this, it's okay. I was just thinking like the kind of power things that going on over there. And even when you met the doctor, there was this one thing, like you want to share something very personal with the doctor, right? So there will be 2 students with him sitting, two, like, you know, and I once remember my mom wanted to say like something, and the doctor started laughing, and these 2 kids who were sitting them also started like making fun of it. Now that is a very harrowing experience, you know. My mom, when I look at it, like she's there and all this, because I once remember even on this doctor's medication, I had a seizure. So the entire thing that I left Qatar and came here was to avoid all these issues with me. So again, when I had a seizure, I think my mom, I don't remember this properly, but my mom said I actually got angry on the doctor. Oh. Yeah, he was like, it's not because of the medication. I was like, how can you say that? You know, you put me on this medication and I'm still getting this. Then what nonsense are you telling me? You're not seeing me on time. So I actually got angry on him. And at that time, I had some bruises on my face because when I fell unconscious, I was playing basketball at that time. I just fell on the ground.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I had some bruises. So actually the doctor was not looking me on the face because he was feeling a little guilty or something. That's what my mom said. I don't remember it properly.
How old were you?
I was in my 11th standard, so maybe 16 or 17. Yeah, that all. So that's one thing, but so this was happening on one level, and I returned some of the fun things that were coming. So I came back to India. So this was the first time I was in a school with girls. Oh yeah, finally. That was a good day. Yeah. so that was there, and one thing I think that supported me a huge way during this time was playing basketball. So I lived in a flat compound where there was a small basketball court where I could play basketball. So even when I was going through all these issues, I would every day go there. I made a few friends and I learned to play basketball. So during this entire time, when I look back at it, it was not the medications, it was not the psychiatrist. It was just that I still kept myself somehow physically active during this process. Even though I was facing a lot of issues, I just did not get stuck up at home. Because what happens, I see is a lot of people who take this medication, they just stay at home and start eating a lot of food. They start getting bulky, and the medicines have this effect of making you lethargic and sleepy. That was happening with me also. But I always liked to play a lot. That was something that I wanted to do from a young age, but I'm not so athletic. I always wanted to go for 100 meters, but I was like an average runner. I was neither a good runner or a bad runner. I was an average runner. So that's how I was. So playing basketball was something that finally I found I was good at, and helped me go through this phase. Like even I remember in school, from being a class topper, I was topper in Qatar. When I came back to India, I was like the last. I was the last rank.
Really?
Yeah, I was the last rank. Yeah, I was like, I totally stopped studying. I remember when I used to go to exam, I would just take a pen with me. Just take a pen. Like I would know whether it's filled or not. I would just sleep in the room. I would just write one answer, and I started getting 2 out of 50, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. I still remember, like when I passed one of my exams, all my friends in India were like, "Oh, you passed. Oh, that's great." From being a topper to that. So I was like internally like, "Oh, what's happening?" Like I was not enjoying all this, but life was getting very, very hard, and I did not know how to do this. No one was able to help me. I was seeing psychiatrist. He was giving a lot of pills. My parents are also not able to figure out what's happening. Somehow, I think a few good friends was there in the flat compound I stayed, and somehow I managed to just get through it. That's what I can remember about it. So yeah, so then I went to college. I joined for engineering. Like I did not have, like my dad was an engineer, so I did not know what to do. So I don't blame my parents for putting me into engineering. I also had no idea what I wanted to do in life. So that's like, you want to do engineering? Yeah, like yeah, fine. So in India, there's this thing like I was not good at that studies. I was not doing well. You can get a management seat. Like in management seat means if you pay a certain amount, you get a seat. So you just need to get a donation. Yeah.
What's that seat mean though?
Seat means you get a assured seat for a particular course in that college.
Oh, okay.
Like you get to be in the class.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to get the minimum marks in my passing exam. That's it. So I can then. So that's how I got into engineering, and it was another level of freedom, away from parents and all those things with my new friends. But I was still on these medications, like cocktail of medications, like this is how it happens in my personal experience. This is how it happened. Like when you take the medications, you feel good for some time, but again, something or the other, external situations will keep on changing. You get stressed I got stressed because of that. You go to the doctor, you say something, oh, that's what happening. He will change the medications in a certain way. He'll give, if you have anxiety, he will add something for anxiety. If you say you're not getting sleep, he will add something for sleep. If you say you have too much sleep, he'll add something for not getting too much sleep.
So it's always plus one.
It's always plus minus. And I still remember there was a particular, in India, it's very easy to actually get medicines. If you simply have a prescription, you go and give, you get most of the antibiotics, almost everything for very easily in India. There was this one time, like he gave me a medication which you actually don't get very easily. He gave me a particular yellow slip which looked very shady, and when you went to the prescription, he's like, oh, you need this medication. So it's that kind of, I think it must be that kind of toxic medication. Yeah, it's later I realized that the only effect that psychiatric medications have is side effects. That's the only effect. I didn't know it then, but still I think people need that, because at a certain time, like I said, not everyone can focus on themselves and do something. So it might be helping a lot of people. So yeah, so I went to college. And so again, a lot of issues started popping up in college also, because what happened was I would sit and sleep in the classes. It's not like I would sleep at the last, like let's say college starts, a lot of periods happen. Mostly kids sleep by the end, right? But I would sleep from the beginning. I would just sit and sleep
the whole time.
Yeah, and I would sit and sleep in the front bench. Yeah, because I was like, I'm in college, I want to study, so I'll go and sit there. But the side effect of the medication is so much that I would just doze off. I still remember one time, like the teacher came to me like, what are you doing? I looked at her and like against letter. So that's like proper insult. And in India, I don't know whether in Kerala, in an engineering college, professors want a lot of respect. They expect a lot of respect from a student, and some professors. So a kid blatantly like sleeping, that's like an insult to them.
In the front row.
Yeah, in the front row. So this led to a lot of issues where they started like, this guy's an arrogant guy. He's simply sleeping. He's just not doing anything. When I was not like that. Within me, I was just like a simple guy. I did not want to offend them or anything. I was not like that rebel kind of guy or anything at that time. So this led to a lot of issues in college, and I still remember one time they called my father to the PTA meeting, and the professor was saying like, "Oh, your kid is like this. Why is he doing like that?" And at that time, the kid within me, I expected my dad to tell him like he's facing so and so issues, that's why he's doing it, but he didn't say that. So I remember myself sitting and crying over there in front of the teacher and my dad. But now I understand from my dad's perspective, he would not know. This is the first time he's experiencing such a thing. But I expected that. But later on, what happened is, there also I used to play basketball, and again the same thing, I blacked out one day. I'm again in the hospital. So that's when some of my professors realized, I am on certain, like I'm taking certain something medication. One of my professors realized, and later I told my parents also, you need to talk with my teachers. I can't handle it over here. I really can't. I can't do this anymore. I can't live on a day-to-day basis of acting in the class, doing so many things and trying to study at the same time. It was getting so hard for me. Like I literally broke down. So my relatives came, they talked to all the professors and all. And that's when one of the professors over there said, there's this one psychologist. So apparently one of the professors in college, he had certain mental issues and he went to the psychologist, and that's how it got sorted. So we decided, there's no other option anyway, because by that time I was told I could neither ride a bike, I can not go alone anywhere, and all these things.
Okay, you might black out?
Yeah, means I might black out, because it is this thing, once you have 3 seizures, there's a possibility that you can get seizure for your lifetime. So you need to be super careful. You need always to have someone accompanying you.
Like you'll just be permanently in a seizure?
Like you might be doing some random things. You might be working in the kitchen. You might be driving. So let's say you're driving.
It could just happen anytime.
If it happens, you could fall into an accident. Let's say you're swimming, you have a seizure, you might drown. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's very dangerous for someone who is having a seizure to be alone. So that was like very limiting for me at that life, because I wanted to ride bikes. I wanted to do all of these things. So that's when they told like there's a psychologist. And apparently he was also graduated from NIMHATS, and he also had a gold medal. Yeah. So I went to him. So he was the first person who told me like, you do not need psychiatric medications. It's actually not needed. It's one of the worst things that you can put into your body. I was like, what? Till now, all the psychiatrists, all the doctors I have seen have never told me this. They've always told me like medications are the thing, you have a chemical imbalance. So my mom and we did not believe him much, but my dad was like, no, we need to go to this person, it's fine. And for me, I was the kind of guy, like when I commit to something, I commit myself fully, even if I do not believe in it, even if I do not know what it is. I like, okay, I'm here, let me do it. So I did not believe him, I did not trust him, but I used to go for him for therapy and for sessions like once in a week. Initially it was like 7 days continuous, and then once in a week. And he would give me certain exercise, biofeedback, so many things. And you need to understand that I was told by my psychiatrist I needed to be lifelong on medication. That this is it. And within 2 months, I was out of all my medications.
Oh, wow.
Completely out. And that was like a wake-up call for me. Oh.
In a good way? Like you didn't need it anymore?
No, I did not need it anymore. I was totally off the medications. You need to understand, like, these are like top doctors who have told me like there is no other way other than medications. And I met neurologists and met psychiatrists from multiple, the best places. And they have never told me this option. And here I was just doing some simple exercises and some simple therapy, and I was off my medications. So that was like a big thing for me. And at that time I had many back papers for my engineering and all. So, and I just cleared off all my back papers after this. And do you need to take a break?
No. So in case you can't see on the camera, my mom's dog is just here. Okay. He when he was a puppy, someone they were having some pest issue.
Okay.
And so the pest control people told them to just put poison outside. But people walk their dogs, and so my dog came and just ate some of it.
Okay.
Which is problematic to eat poison. So we had to take him to the vet and do all this stuff, and they said there's like some slight damage to his nerves.
Okay.
So when he sleeps, he has these like twitchy shakes.
Okay.
So Shrav's just calming him.
Oh, I didn't see that. I thought sleeping.
It's kind of subtle at first because you kind of see the feet twitch and stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, speaking of seizures.
Yeah. Right.
So you've throughout this whole journey you've talked about like your mom and dad. Could you just kind of just describe what kind of people they are? Like give a picture of like you mentioned that like it's a conservative family, right?
Yeah.
But more like who are they?
Who are they? So my dad, he was brought up in a village. His dad he had a government job, and my dad from a young age he was the eldest in the family, so there was a lot of responsibilities on him. So from a very young age he knew he had to take it up. He went to an engineering college. He studied, and for him he studied in North India. He's from the southern part of India, but he studied in an engineering college in the northern part of India. So at that time, going from South India to North India he went all alone. That was not something that most people do. Most people stay with their family nearby. So
There must be like a language thing too, right?
yeah. So he went language, food, and it's not like today where you can just pick up a phone and call them, you can video call them. Those things not existed. Once you took the train, you went there. Only once you reach there, you have to book a call or you have to send a letter. Only if you send a letter, your parents will know that you have reached there. Today, I'm here in US. I'm just a phone call away. Like, hey, mom, I reached here. That's it. Your mom knows. They can see you on the phone. They can check my Instagram page. Everything. They know what I'm doing. At that time, it was not like that. But he took that. So from there, because he was not from a very financially well family or anything. He was from a very normal family.
He's in a village, right?
Yeah, village. Yeah.
So what's a village like?
I don't know at that time, like what's a village. Yeah,
He didn't talk about it.
yeah, I'm like he's a very silent person. He's a very like what do you call, very calm, composed. Like I do all these yoga practices to get a little bit of, but I've heard Sadhguru, I don't know, like Sadhguru says, no, like when you sleep on the bed you should go in 3 seconds. Like I've seen him doing always that. He goes to the bed, he's off, he's gone. So within him he's always like that. So no matter what happens in life, I don't see him getting ever stressed out unless it's related with me. Whether it's with his work, whether whatever happens, he doesn't get stressed or anything. Like he's the kind of person, like, he goes to work at, let's say, 5 a.m. That's how the government jobs in Qatar work, 5 a.m. and it ends by some 2 p.m. And that's how much only he'll work.
That's nice.
Yeah. And he won't take any calls after that. Rest of the time it's for his family. Even if some office call comes, he'll say, no, this is not my time. I've done my work. That's it. And he's very super efficient with his working. He has this integrity. Like he has that thing. Like let's say he says, let's say there's a function, say somewhere at 2 p.m. He's the kind of person who will reach there by 1:30 p.m. He values other people's time so much. So for me, when I come to Isha and something, this is the first place where I see, okay, something happens on time. Because what happens is, since I have grown up seeing him, I also follow time. When someone says a certain time, I try to reach there on time and I value other people's time. But what I notice is when I reach somewhere, no one is there, only I am there. So it's kind of like frustrating. Okay, what am I doing here?
They're like, why'd you come on time?
Yeah, why'd you come on time? That's not what we meant. So for me, he's that kind of person. He has this very feminine touch to him. He's not like the man who's like, macho man. He's not like that. So I've grown up seeing him, like when I've fallen sick, he would be the one taking care of me. When I'm having fever, he would put like the wet cloth on me. He would feed me with his hands. So that's what I've seen him. But now when I look back at it, I've not been so nice on him, because my idea of a dad would be from movies, very tough. So I'd be like, Dad, why are you not like this? Why are you not into cars? Because even when he went to buy a car, he wouldn't want the best car or anything. He'd be like, why do I need a car? I don't need a car. Like he doesn't even wear a watch. He's like, why do I need? Like, it's okay. He is very simple.
He's not 50 Cent.
Yeah, he's not 50 Cent. He's not 50 Cent. He's very simple. He's very grounded. And he just wants his family, like whatever I'm enjoying today, whatever the financial stability we have today, it's only because of his how hard he has worked and how he has saved money. He has very practical outlook towards life, and yeah, that's a little bit about my dad. I don't know whether I was able to convey a
Yeah.
picture.
So, what would you say is like valuable things that you got from him, like things you appreciate, especially looking back?
Now when I look back at it, I appreciate that how like living simple and how simply he lived. I think that's what I appreciate. Like even though he made a lot of money, he did not give so much importance to the materialistic aspects in life. He gave importance, but for him, taking care of the family, like taking care of his loved ones, this was what was important to him. And like one thing is valuing other people's time, and reaching, it might looks very small, but I think these are the small things that I appreciate now when I look back at him, because seeing at him, this somehow it has been, even though I was a rebel at that time, I did not like it, somehow it has been instilled within me. And the amount of love he has given me, the care, and how he has taken care of my mom, and yeah, these are like, and one thing is, he would always help other people, and he would never talk about it. Like I've seen him helping people in need. Maybe it's in the form of money, or maybe it's in the form of recommendation or whatever, but he would never tell it to anyone. Even to my mom he wouldn't tell it. Only to me he would say, like, this I'm doing is like. So he was that kind of person. So that is something that has inspired me. Doing something doesn't necessarily mean I have to tell it, or so these are the small things that I feel really proud of my dad for.
And what about your mom?
Yes, mom. My mom and I had a little bit of rocky relationship, because of this dependence on her. But
Is it okay? Do we have a rocky relationship?
Yeah, but we have worked on it a lot now. Like now it's not fully there, but still, because of these issues, like, okay, let me give a picture of my mom. So my mom is a housewife, so she has taken care of me. Like now when I look at it, being a housewife is so hard. Like, waking, still she does. Like even with all this yoga, I'm not able to wake up. I wake up by 6:30, 7:30, but till today my mom wakes up by 4:35. She cooks all the food. She does so many things, and I'm not able to figure out how she's able to do it. And she does it with so much happiness, because she's doing it for her family. So that is the one thing that I'm so inspired by. She really, really loves her family, and she's willing to do whatever. Like even today when I get a little stressed out, she wants the best for me. So initially she was not into this yoga, and she was like, what is this yoga? You should not do it. It's some Baba good thing. But once she realized it's good for me, now even when I get a little bit stressed, she said, you are getting stressed. You need to do your yoga more. So that is the kind of love she has for me. So she's like, so a little bit about my mom. Yeah. Why did I miss this out? So they are 4 sisters, okay?
You have 4 sisters?
No, my mom is like 4 sisters.
Oh,
one
okay.
twin and 2 elder sisters.
Gotcha.
So they were also born in a village. But their father was, I think, he was kind of like very liberal at that time. At that time, women were not given so much freedom, but he gave total freedom to these 4 kids. So they grew up like men. They would take care of everything in the family. Our granddad's home had a big river in front of it, so they had a big boat, and also these girls would row the boat. They would pick people, they would bring them back, they would milk cows, they would do farming, they would take care of everything. So they were grown up like physically intensely, and they have done so many things. So my mom has that kind of getting things done attitude. Like if you want to get something done, she gets it done. So she has that kind of thing, and she's very able. Like she can get things done. So that kind of thing is there within her, but at the same time she's loving, she's caring. So it's a combination of both. So yeah, so that's a bit about my mom. I don't know. I'm thinking like what else to say about my mom. There are so many things, but it's not coming into my head now.
So what, beyond the family, what she like to do just for her? Do you know?
What she like to do for her? So that's the thing. Like I haven't seen her. She just likes to watch movies with us. Sometimes she likes to go on trips. That's the thing. I have asked mom, like she likes cooking a lot. She likes to try out new dishes. She checks out YouTube nowadays. She checks dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She get her into YouTube.
Yeah. She likes driving a lot. She likes to, when I was a kid, she learned driving. So she likes to drive. So she would take us to school. She would take us back. She wanted to always have that independence. Yeah, this is the thing. She wanted this thing that I think she actually wanted to study to such an extent where she could get a job and do something. But that didn't happen for her because the time she studied, her teachers were not so good. They instilled this kind of fear in her, like you study this, that. They used to punish them a lot. So she developed this hatred for studies. So what happened was she could not study to such a level. She has an MA in literature, a very good degree. But I think she wanted to have such a kind of job where, like, maybe let's say a police officer or let's say someone influential where you could do something for society or something. She could not make that happen for herself. So I think she tried to do that with me. Because she could not study like that.
Look at all your followers.
So that was the thing within her, and I think she maybe wants to do that. I don't know. I haven't asked her. But yeah, so that's what she wanted to do. But when I look at it, she's already doing that. She's just not figuring it out. She has so much influence over so much people who comes in contact with her, with the people who she meets. It's there. Even what I do, I still look at her, how she interacts with people. And how she has this, I call her a detective, because she has this very keen sense when someone is lying to her or someone is doing some fake thing, she immediately understands. So it makes it very hard for me to lie at home. If I want to go out somewhere without telling her, she's like, what are you trying? So it's very, very hard for me. So yeah, that's how my mom is. Like,
do you think that made you not very good at lying or better at lying?
Very bad at. I can't lie. I'm naturally very bad at lying. So when someone like my mom is there, it makes it even harder for me.
Finished.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you said when you were in Qatar, you were in like an all boys school, right?
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Like I know there's no girls around, obviously, but like the general experience of it, because like I've never been in a school like that.
It's awesome in one way, because I think when I studied in girls, I've studied with girls also. So no offense on girls, please. I'm just saying my this thing. There's a lot of gossip and this thing that happens when you're like. What I notice, if two women, let's say they have some issues with each other. This happens with men also, I'm sure. Maybe the kind of men I dealt with did not do that. What I noticed is some of my friends, what they would do is they want more support for them. Each of these girls would want more support for them.
Whose side are you on?
Whose side? So they will come to each of us and they're like, this girl did like this. She's not mean. You should not talk to her. So initially I was not able to figure this out. Like, what's happening over here? Mm-hmm. So this kind of issues doesn't happen with boys. If there's a fight, we fight it out. We beat each other and that's done. So that's how in a boys, when I studied, we would have big fights. But at the end of the day, that's over. Maybe they would take us for some punishment. The next day we would all. But when I'm trying with, when there are women, there's a lot of social niceties and different kind of things, which I was not good at. I did not know how to manage these things.
Did you try and fight them?
I did not try to fight them. But I later realized, okay, there is another way of dealing with things also. It's not just by fights or just the masculine way, but there's a very feminine approach, talking out things, listening to people. Because that was not something I am used to. Because women are like, oh, come on, man, let's do that. Let's play something. Let's do this. So studying with boys, that's been my experience. Yeah, especially in engineering college also. I was in an all men's. I took mechanical engineering. So in that batch, there are only men. So that is supposed to be like when there are more men, like it's like the royal mech we call ourselves, because there are only men.
Royal what?
A royal mech.
Oh.
Because what happens is in college, the other batches will have it'll be 50-50. Let's say electrical, electronics, and all these other engineering streams will have a lot of women in them. So let's say sometimes college fights happen between batches. So no one picks up a fight with the mechanical engineering because we are naturally, muscle power is more, right? We are more men. So it's always like, we are the man, we are the best. It's a very unhealthy thing now when I look at it. A lot of unnecessary issues, a lot of unnecessary male thing. It's always good to have a lot of women. That's what. Now when I look at it, there are a lot of beautiful women around me. That keeps me very grounded. At that time, it was not there. Because I'm sure when I look back at it, a lot of issues of mine could have been solved if I had a good female friend who I could talk and share my things with. I think a lot of men do not find that in their life. They do not find a women, because with men, I don't think, like with Hidana, I share a lot of things. We have that kind of bond between us where I can share anything with you. But I think the kind of movies we see and the kind of things that men are expected to do, I think from a young age, I think no guy is told that, you can share your feelings with other men. It's bad to cry. You should be muscular. You should be like this. So
how are you in a fight if you cry?
Yeah, so many things. So I think if there is a female friend, then a lot of things are taken care of, I think. A lot of such things. Yeah. So it's good and bad in a... yeah.
Were there any friends or teachers or anybody at either the Qatar school or when you came to Kerala that like made a big impact on you?
Yeah, so I think in my engineering college, once my HOD Binu sir, he came to know.
What's that, Judy? What is that the person?
Yeah, the Binu sir. Head of the department.
Okay, okay.
HOD, head of the sorry, HOD. Yeah, Binu sir and his wife. They came to know. They were very supportive. Like they came to know about my issue. They would do things for me. Even the other professors also. Like I'm saying, see, all humans are, I think, basically good. All professors are also good. So once they came to know that I have facing certain issues, there was a lot of support they gave me. Like all these professors, I told no, they want respect, but I think deep within them also they are very nice people, because they also might have felt guilty that, like, oh, we didn't know he was facing such an issue. So once they came to know about all this, there was a lot of support from them, whether it was my attendance, whether it was telling me tuitions where to go to. There was a huge support from them. So that's how I was able to actually complete my engineering, because else I would not have got my degree. So yeah, they have been very supportive actually.
What kind of things did they do? Like, if you had to give an example.
Yeah, if I would give an example, let's say there's a need for attendance. Like, you need a certain percentage of attendance in order to write the exam. You need a certain internal marks, then only it is easy for you to pass. So once they came to know that I had certain things, let's say I had to go to the psychologist or anything, they would be okay for me to not come to the class. They would be very supportive. It's okay, you can attend it later. It's fine, you go meet the psychologist. So because it might be a small thing, but for someone like me who is struggling, that's a huge help, to know that there are people who are supporting me. Because from the previous situation where I'm worried, oh, I'm skipping class, what will they think, they'll harass me, to now where they are hugely supportive, it's a very, very huge difference for me. Yeah.
Okay, so with all that context, now you got to the point where you're saying you got with that psychiatrist and you're now off the medication.
Yeah.
So then what?
Oh, then what? So I always had this thing that I wanted to do something for people or society or something like that. So I started, and now here I was from fully on medication to not on medication. And I was like, what? And I had passed my, like, what's happening? Like, I was told like this. So there must be millions of people who must be on this medication and they might not need it. So I started reading a lot of books by psychiatrists, by psychologists to understand what it's all about. And I realized there's a huge gap, and there's a lot of misinformation and all these things. So I wanted to tell people. But at that time, I hadn't shared my story. And so I thought maybe the best way to put out this information is if I become a psychologist myself, because a psychologist has helped me. So my natural train of thought was, if I become a psychologist, I can help other people. So I wanted to become a psychologist. At that time, I was working in Qatar for some time.
Doing what?
Just a regular job. My dad got me a job because he had some references. So he got me a job in an oil company. I was just doing paperwork and all that. Nice.
Oil company.
Yeah, it's good pay also. Yeah.
It seems so fancy because I've never had I've had all kinds of jobs, but none of them have been anything corporate or anything, nothing like that. So I have no context.
It's nice because already my family is there, so I have a car where I can go to office. In between, I'm eating good food, coming back. But something within me was not fulfilled. It was a good job, good pay. I had my family. I could just have gone, but something within me was like, this is not what I want to do. So I thought being a psychologist is something that I could, help people. So I left that. Not left that. My job term got over. So maybe I could have got another job there, but I was like, I need to try at least this. So I came to Gujarat, and Gujarat is a state in India. I think is in the western part of India. So there I got into this institute called Gujarat Forensic Science University. I think it was set up by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. So I got there as a neuropsychologist, and I went there. I was thinking okay, I'm gonna study, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make a lot of change, because I was going with that kind of intention. Okay. But there were a lot of pretty girls over there. This was the first time.
Distracted.
So I fell in love with this one girl, and I'm the kind of person, I get really involved with something, it was just a very small 2 month only, but I got really involved with her to the extent that I wanted to marry her. That was so, and
how quickly did you feel that you want to marry her?
Yeah.
How long had it did you know her and then you decided
it's just maybe 2 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah. That's it.
Young love.
Yeah. This is the girl I'm going to marry. So, and I didn't tell something about my family. From a young age, I've been told by my mother, you will marry the girl I choose from the same caste.
Oh.
Even before I knew that I have to marry girls, I've been told this by my mom. Okay. So that's been conditioned. And here I am marrying a girl from north of India. Fall in love with a girl from north of India and decided to marry her. That was totally unacceptable. And at that time I was totally dependent on my parents, emotionally. Emotionally I was their approval was needed for me to do anything in my life. So when I came back home,
at this point were you still asking your mom is it okay, that kind of stuff?
No, that kind of stuff had gone.
You let drop off.
Yeah,
okay.
that kind of stuff had gone. That kind of stuff totally went with the medication, actually, because the medication totally bongs you up. There are no thoughts or like that. So
Gotcha.
It just actually that had shifted from my mom to that doctor at that time.
Oh, okay.
Because now she was the main person for me. Then it shifts to the other psychiatrist.
She's the gatekeeper.
Yeah, it shifted like that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah. So I fell in love with this girl and I came back home. I told my mom, she's like, no, this can't happen. Okay?
Wrong cast.
This not a wrong cast, North India. That's not South India.
Maybe they have completely different caste types.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even compatible.
Yeah, it's not even you can't even check compatibility. It's
I can't even have a problem with this because it's too different.
Yeah, it's too different. Yeah, that kind of thing. So, and it was in this moment my entire anxiety and depression came back in 100 times fold back.
When your mom said
when my mom said I could not get something, I could not be with the girl that I wanted to be, because till then I was telling myself the anxiety issues, the depression issues I was facing was because of the side effect of the medication. Now since the medication is gone, I will not face it. That was my internal confidence. That was the thing that I was going, that I'll become a psychologist and help people. But now here I was as a psychologist studying, and my anxiety was back. I was not able to sleep. Even if I sleep and I wake up, my hands are shivering, literally shaking. I'm waking up, what the hell is going on? And I developed a fear of women also at that time.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I said no, I went to a psychologist who helped me come off these medications. It's truly great what he did for me, and I really appreciate that. But when this issue came into my life, he told me you should not be with the girl, she's not good for you. Maybe he looked at what was good for me at that time, maybe, but it happened in such a way that I developed a fear for all women. Whenever a girl would come near me, I'm oh no, she's want to do something. I could not look at women, and I could literally see my mind going bonkers. I'm what the hell is happening? I know this is not right. Why am I developing fear of women? But it's there.
So what do you do?
At that time I remember I almost quit the course. I told Dad I can't stay here. And he's okay, come back. I took a flight back and I came back home. And then I put a John Rambo movie.
what?
No, Rocky movie. Sorry, Rocky
movie,
Rocky
okay.
movie. And Rocky is like, you should not give up. I'm like, I'm not giving up. I'm going back.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I went back. I took a membership for the gym, and on the way to the gym, I again saw the girl who, because this doctor had told me, see, breakup is fine, but this doctor had told me like you should not even talk to her, you should not even see her. Now that is literally impossible when you are in a college with that girl, right?
Yeah.
But for me, whatever that doctor said at that time was like God's word, because he's the one who has.
So did you just like turn around and walk away?
Yeah, I turned around and walked away. But she came behind me, she caught my hand, and this gave me a panic attack and all. Because this was the first time in my life I was facing a panic attack. Because I remember at that time...
Like because she touched you?
At that time, no. But there was this another instance where I was sitting for an exam, like during this phase only, and she came and touched me and said, "Good luck, Vaisakh." That's it, I remember.
Finished.
And I'm writing my exam. I literally remember my heartbeat increasing. I'm just going like, I'm not able to figure out what's happening. And I'm like, calm down. It's okay. Nothing. You're not. I felt like I'm going to die, but I'm like, you're not going to die. Just all is well. I'm like, all is well. Focus on your breath, and I just focus on my breath, and somehow I came back. I don't know. I had a panic attack, and that was the worst thing that has ever happened in my life. I still remember it very vividly. That bench I'm sitting in, she coming and touching me, and all those things. So this was happening. I was catching my flight, coming back home. Then again watching Rambo movie or something, going back in. Luckily that college was not so strict with attendance, so I could do this. And I literally remember, Sadhguru gives us this Akashic Sadhana, right? Where we look up and like, please, thank you.
Yeah.
So I remember somehow, I don't know, naturally that intelligence came with me. I would, before going into college, I was like, thank you for giving me this day. And something happened where she got some placement. She went away from that college for some job. And some other women came into my life. Now when I look back at it, that's why I said needing women is very important. So these girls around me, my very close friends now, they understood that I was going through a breakup, but they did not know how to support me. So what they did was they just took me around with them. They would take me to movies. I thought they didn't know, but they actually knew. They would make sure I had some activity to do with them. And in their company, I slowly recovered from it. They were very nice to me.
Like so they created like the supportive.
Yeah, they created without even me knowing, because I was avoiding women, but they understood like, there's something going with me. And because when I reached the college, I was very super active. I was very fun loving. I would talk with all the people. I would be so like.
And they knew you at that point?
Then I became this guy who was avoiding everyone, was not talking to everyone. So anyone could understand that there was some issue. But only these few friends of mine tried to help me. So I recovered slowly from that, like that. But there was something within me that understood, okay, Vaisakh, you have not gotten anywhere. What's the use of becoming a psychologist if you can't help yourself? You haven't figured it out yourself. So somewhere that was there within me. So I finished that course and I wanted to do an MPhil in clinical psychology. So only if you do an MPhil in India can you actually practice to be a psychologist. Means you can do that. So I still remember when I got the call letter for the college. My cheeseburger is calling me.
Vaisu really wants an American cheeseburger.
I want a cheeseburger, but these Hatha Yoga teachers are all vegans. So I still remember I got that call letter, and again I got stressed. This was something that I wanted to do, but when I got this call letter, I'm like, fuck, stress is coming again. How will I do this? How am I going to do that? And I'm like, this is not it. This is not cool. What the hell is happening? Now everything is fine. There's no girl to bother me. There is nothing. But still I'm getting anxious and stressed. At that time I used to read a lot of books, and I started Sadhguru's books I was reading. I was reading a lot of Sadhguru books, and
even back then you came across it?
Yeah, I don't know when exactly I came across. I think it was during that depression phase. I started reading a lot of self-help books, and somehow Sadhguru's books popped up, but it was not so much in my vision that, oh, Sadhguru, he has a solution. That was not there within me. I would read a lot of books, let's say Robin Sharma books, so many books I would read. And again, things were getting so much unsettled within me. So, and there was this one book by Arundhati Subramaniam called More Than a Life. So in that, Sadhguru's all books are very logical. It's very up to it's very logically correct. But in this book, the line between logical and illogical was getting like they was talking about energies, dhyana linga, energy sphere, and so I'm like, what the hell? Because I am someone, when I take a book, I finish it within one day. I read it so fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I finish it 1 or 2 days maximum. But this book, it's been a week, 2 weeks. I'm not able to finish it. I'm not able to turn the pages.
How come?
I don't know. I'm not able to turn. I'm reading this thing. This can't be real. Because at that time, I had read Autobiography of a Yogi and all these books. And a guru was someone for me who existed only in olden times. He's not someone who exists now.
Not alive right
Not
now.
alive. It's they're all... this is modern world. A guru can't exist here.
It's almost like a story.
It's a story. Yeah, it's good to like. I remember when I look back at it, I used to when so much issues were happening, I would please give me a guru. Like, is there someone? I remember after I read Autobiography of a Yogi, you can go to their classes by sending them a letter. They will send you written notes or something, and you just need to follow the exercise. But I was finding it very hard to follow it because I was all alone. There was no support system. No one was doing any yoga around me. No one was into meditation or spirituality. So me alone sitting in my room reading this about bhakti, this thing, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? It's not working. I'm like, please, I need some genuine path.
At that time, what was your idea of what, when you say I need a guru, what does that mean to you at that time?
At that time, my idea of a guru was from this book called Autobiography of a Yogi. Mm-hmm. So in that, the protagonist who has written, what is his name?
Yogananda.
Yogananda Paramsa. His guru is Swami Sri Yukteswar. So for me, Yogananda Paramsa goes to his college, but every day he comes and sits with his guru, talks with him, volunteers in his ashram, helps him with his work. And so that's my idea of a guru, a being of very powerful capabilities, but at the same time, that is the book that grounded me that spirituality doesn't mean you are doing miracles or anything. It means you are doing yoga. Because in that book, it talks about a lot of miracles, things that we can say, people appearing here and there and all. But in the end, the author always talks about going into his room and doing his practices. Even his guru tells him, you just do your practices and whatever needs to happen will happen. So for me, my quest was basically to find someone who could give me these tools. Somewhere within me, I wanted to find these tools, this Kriya Yoga. From that book, what I realized is Kriya Yoga. So I wanted to know Kriya Yoga. What is Kriya Yoga? That was my idea of, a guru who can give me Kriya Yoga. But there is no Swami Sri Yukteswar. There is no Yogananda Paramsa. But there are schools by him. So that's how I called this ashram and I want to join. How can I join? So they send me, you need to send to our ashram in Ranchi, and from there they will send you written postal address. And it's very cheap, just 10-20 rupees for a lesson or something like that. Super cheap. Yeah. So that was my first encounter with I think a genuine spiritual book or something like that.
Was there anything with yoga at all when you were growing up?
Yes, I forgot to tell about this. So when I was facing these issues, all of these issues, my dad took me to this place in Kerala only where this person who was teaching me yoga. So that was very twisting yoga and so much yoga. And I remember on the last day, I was made to drink an entire tub of salt water and made to vomit it, and then put a thread through my nose and do that.
What?
Thread.
Drink the salt water, throw it up.
Yeah, clean my stomach and throw it up.
Oh,
and I still remember I was told, this is good for your body. You should not eat anything right now. Okay, to this day you have to fast because your chemicals have been cleansed.
So you had chicken biryani.
Something like that. My brother took me and he's like, come on, let's go eat. We had paratha and chicken. The most unhealthiest food. So yeah. So
it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work in the sense because at that time yoga was I was fully into studies. So during my vacation, when I came back to India, that was the only time I get to spend with my friends and play around. So here, when they put yoga, I saw yoga as something that took away my fun time. Mm-hmm. So I do not know whether he was teaching me genuine yoga or whether the yoga was helping me, because even while I was doing this is a waste of my time, I need to get back, I need to play, I am playing cricket with my friends. So that was my experience of yoga. For me, yoga was something very taking away my fun time in my life, just a boring thing to do. That was my idea of yoga.
Mm-hmm. Okay. throughout this whole process, like you talked about those women that kind of helped you get that support environment. Are there any other friends that had like a good impact on, or even a negative impact you learned from, something like that?
Maybe as I talk, I will remember right now. My cousins, like I told my auntie, right? Like they have also been very hugely supportive of, because no one in the family has gone through such a thing. But at the same time, when someone is going through a mental health, they would not say things which might have triggered me. I might do some things which they might not have liked, but at the same time, they were very inclusive in not telling me, or trying to, okay, he's going through something, let it be, let him have his space. Maybe I might have talked rudely to them, I might have got suddenly angry with them. Maybe it's because of the medication, or maybe it's just because how I am. But I still think they kept their own likes and dislikes away, so that I could recover and I could support. So it's been all my friends, my family, my cousins, they've all been a huge support in that way.
Okay. So you wrote to this ashram and you were reading all these books. So I'm trying to do that, but that's not working, because the letters they're sending now, when I look back at it, how it works is I need to do something like Upayoga for like 5-6 months. They send a booklet with some yoga. Now when I look back, it's something like Upayoga. Okay. Yeah. So if you don't know what Upayoga is, this is like they offer it at Isha, and it's sort of like a great entry point if you don't know anything else. It's safe, anybody can do it, and it's still very effective, but it doesn't require so much involvement in the teaching process. You can learn it on YouTube if you want.
Yeah. So these booklets contain a little bit, I know, Upayoga or something like that, and you need to do it for 6-7 months without fail, and then only they will initiate you into Kriya Yoga. So I was trying it for 2-3 days. I'm doing 1-2 weeks I do, but I'm not able to just do it. So,
what did you like? So whatever they were having you do, how did you feel about it? Because you'd already done this bendy twisty yoga, right?
That's the thing. It's like reading from. It was too much effort. Like you have to read the book, you have to look at the instructions, you only have to figure it out. It was too much of a. I was not getting to I was so much frustrated, and so many things were going on within me. I needed something fast. I was used to like that, because medicines give you that. When you take a medication pill, immediate effect or something, it happens. Yeah. Like it is actually later I realized that some of the medications I have taken are actually categorized in the same level as LSD and all.
Really?
Yes, it is. It is that. Yeah. So it's actually if you get a psychiatric, what you call prescription, you can get something illegal very legally. It's that potent, that the medications that they give you. And this is the thing. See, let's say someone who is an alcoholic, he knows his issue is alcohol. So he has the awareness that I need to slowly come out of my alcohol. But when a doctor tells you this is a medicine, even if you get some issue, you do not know, like you really do not know it's because of the medication. So there is no awareness within you to understand that this is not my anxiety or stress, this might be actually because of the medication. Like a simple Google search, if you just Google search anxiety pills, the first side effect that comes is the anxiety pills can, for some people, may cause an increase in anxiety.
Oh, that's fun. Just what you want, right?
Yeah. That's not like you don't take a medicine for your fever which says that this can increase your fever, right?
Might increase 2 degrees.
Yeah. So it's like that. Yeah. So where was I going with this? Yeah, with the practices. So I had left that practices. I was not following it, but yeah, Sadhguru's books. I was reading Sadhguru's, this Arundhati Subramaniam's book, More Than a Life. I was not able to fill it. And the main thing happened was one day I was sleeping, and apparently something like the Dhyanlinga came in my dream.
Really?
Yeah. It was my Dhyanlinga. It's not the Dhyanlinga in the ashram. But for me, I was in the Dhyanlinga dome. Nice. So I was like, oh my God, I need to be at this place. Somehow something clicked within me which said, if you sit in the Dhyanlinga dome, everything will be finished. All your issues will be solved.
Oh, okay. So great dream.
Yeah, great dream.
If you don't know, Dhyanlinga is one of the temples at the Isha Foundation.
Yeah. Please Google it. So now the next thing is, how do I get to the ashram? So for people who don't know, In India, the only time you go to the ashram is when you're leaving your parents and you want to be a monk.
And they don't like it.
Yeah, they don't like it. It's the worst thing that you can do. So how do I tell my parents that I want to go to the ashram? So, but for me, this was important. I decided like things are not working within me. Whatever I'm trying to do, all these medicines or even this psychiatric knowledge about medicine, which I thought I can help people. If I can't help myself, what is the whole use? So I sat with my parents and told them like I need to go to the ashram. They were like, why? I was like, don't worry. I just want to see the place and come back. I need a solution for myself, and I just want to see. I told them honestly, like I just want to explore this possibility. Like before I go for my MPhil, I just want to explore this possibility, because at that time I was stressed. I had got that admission, but I was so stressed and that I said I need to do this. So they said, okay, you go and come. So I was emailing Isha Foundation. So I thought, for me also, I didn't know what an ashram was. Okay, so I messaged them. I thought I needed some big spiritual experience. So I typed, I saw Dhyan Linga in my dream. So please allow me to come. I messaged. So I got a reply. You just need to book a room and come. That's it. I'm like, oh, that's it. Okay. So I booked a so I booked a Nadi cottage.
Requirement. You must already be enlightened.
Yeah. So I booked a 3 or 4 day stay, and I came back to Kerala along with my parents. I still remember I was so stressed that time. Like I became like that panicky kid, which I was at 19 years old. I became like I would sit with my mother. I would cry on her lap. Now I had finished my master's degree. I was like 26, 27, but because of my stress and anxiety, so much of my inner turmoil came back. Like I became this fearful kind of person. Like I couldn't move. I had to be with my mom. Like ask her that was returning, and I could literally see myself falling from here, like crashing, and I could not stop the crash. The more I tried to stop the crash of me, it was going further. Like there was nothing to hold. And I was like, what the hell? I am going back. There is nothing I can do. So I remember in the flight also, I was not able to sleep. I was so much panicky in the flight and all that, but somehow I managed to reach India. And then so I went to Coimbatore. I took a train and I went to Coimbatore. So I booked a cab from Isha Foundation. So my idea of the cab driver was, I'll be met by a spiritual cab driver.
Yogi and
yogi, something like that was my whole idea. I think the cab driver was a regular guy. I'm not sure about this, but somewhere I think that he actually talked me like, why are you going to Isha Foundation? It's a bad place. You shouldn't go there. I'm not sure about it, but I think something like that happened. I'm like, what the hell? And when I reached the ashram also, it's very modern. Like there's a check-in place. I'm like, what check-in? There's people with desktop, laptop. There's a tag. I'm like, what's happening over here?
What were you expecting? Like a thatch hut?
Yeah, I was expecting a thatch hut, living like very crude people doing yoga. And the one thing, like even when I went to the room, it was like super neat, and there was a mosquito repellent. I'm like, okay, they kill mosquitoes over here. I thought ashram, like,
how can this be spiritual?
I thought ashram doesn't kill anyone. So these were my ideas. This is all getting broken over there. But my main idea was, where's the Dhyan Linga? Where is the Dhyan Linga? So they gave me this sheet of paper where they say the schedule and the entire map of the ashram is there. So this is the Dhyan Linga. So I went there. Okay, everything's gonna get solved. I went and sat. Nothing's happening. I'm sitting here. Nothing. I thought something will happen. Nothing is happening. I came out. I again went inside. I sat. Nothing is happening. So it's next day. Someone told me like, there's something known as Surya Kund. You take a dip in that and then you go to the Dhyan Linga. I'm like, oh,
that's the trick.
That's the trick. And actually, I went into the Surya Kund, and for the first time I felt so relieved. So for me, more than the Dhyan Linga, it's the Surya Kund that was so experientially. Taking that dip in the cold water, suddenly my thoughts just went away, and I still remember I would hug the linga over there and I would cry like, what's happening? I don't know what to do. Like, please help me. I would just go around. I remember going to the Devi temple, and there was some, and you need to understand, like, I was some person at a certain point in my life, I was against temples and all these rituals and what the hell is happening. I become like that. But here I was. Whatever they told me, I was willing to do that. I was like, there's some offering. Okay, give me that. I'll do that. And there were some free yoga sessions also where they're teaching Om meditation. And that was the first time I was initiated into Om meditation. And they were like, oh, thank you so much for giving this. And they told me to do it for like 20 days. So I would sit and do it in my room. In the ashram only I would do for 5 minutes when I wake up. I would do before sleep. I would do. I told my parents that I would not use my mobile, so I switched off my mobile. I was walking barefoot. I don't know what, because I don't know what to do. Like no one told me. Like even, that's what I'm coming to. Like no one told me even when I was in the ashram that there's something known as inner engineering. So I was doing all these things, and something happened in the Bhiksha. Like the Bhiksha hall is a place where in the ashram where you get food. So for me, my expectation of ashram was everyone was calm, peaceful. They would talk nice to you. So I ate my food in Bhiksha hall, and I was washing the plate. So the tap was open. Water was flowing, and in the ashram they are very strict about you should not waste water because so many people. I did not know it. It was my first time. So this one lady beside me, she looked at, what the hell are you doing? You should not use it. And she was like, she scolded me like properly. I'm like, oh, what's happening? Like, why are they scolding me? I'm here for the first time. So I was getting things which I was not expecting from the ashram. But at the same time, eating the food over there, being in that ambience, a lot of my physical issues, like my stomach problems, all were getting solved. But I did not come there for that. I actually came there to get some tool or to get some solution. So while I was in the ashram, I got a message from one of my friends, Jay Krishnan, who was with me for engineering, same batch. But he had not pursued his engineering, and he had become a Hatha Yoga teacher.
Oh, really?
Yes, but he had never told me. I had been with the discussions with him about Sadhguru and all. But I still remember he would never force on any of our friends about inner engineering or like you should come to the ashram or you should do that. He would never. But he sent me a message, oh, you are in the ashram, so why don't you try inner engineering? I'm like, what is inner engineering? So he's like, yeah, there's something happened in your city, maybe you reach. And I was totally open. I was like, yeah, why not? Let me do. Like, I did not even check what is inner engineering. I'm like, okay, program inner engineering. I called, hello, I want to register. How do? And I immediately registered. So, and the main thing I did in the ashram was I did some shopping. I bought some copper bottles. I bought some Rudraksh. And I came back home. And when I came back home, I realized that inner engineering was happening just like 5 minutes from my home. Like,
oh, nice.
Yes, it's just nearby, and I never realized it. So,
how convenient.
How convenient. So even when I went for inner engineering, like it was just 2 days after. Yeah.
Before you get to inner engineering, when you spent, how long were you at the ashram?
3 days, I think.
3 days. Mm-hmm. And you did like Om chanting and stuff. Did you notice any difference from any of that? You said the Surya Kund dip helped.
Surya Kund dip, like the being in the ashram was actually helping me a lot. There was something there which was calming me down, but again it was outside. All these processes were outside. Like taking a dip in the Surya Kund is an outside process. I can't have a Surya Kund in my home. Mm-hmm. Sitting in the Dhyan Linga is there in the ashram. I can't sit in the Dhyan Linga in my home.
So that's not the tool you're looking for.
Yeah, it was not at that time. It was not the tool. I wanted something so definitive that works within me or something. I did not know what I was. Like now when I look back at it, sitting in the Dhyan Linga only made it happen, I think. But then I didn't realize that. For me, then I was like, oh, something will hit me or something. That, because autobiography of Yogi does that a bit. In that it talks about the Guru touching you here, something opening here.
Third eye.
Yeah. So that was my... And Arundhati ma'am's book also talks about Sadhguru in a different avatar. Because it was during his initial days. So that's not how things work now, I think. So that was maybe my expectation from the ashram.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so then you saw inner engineering.
Yeah, inner engineering also. I was like I said, when I give myself to something, I would totally give. So even the energy program happened, they said, I did not even want to think about my mobile. So I kept my mobile in my home. I just walked till the place. And I remember the volunteers greeting us with namaskar. I'm like, yeah, okay, good. And I went inside, I sat. And
what did you know about this program?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all. I did not know anything about inner engineering. Like zero, nil. I hadn't even checked Google or anything about inner engineering. My friend sent me this flyer. Even in the flyer, it was nothing written that it helps you with your anxiety or nothing. Inner engineering, I just went.
Engineering school, it makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, so the teacher comes, it was a Swami. So Swami comes and he talks about, there's this one thing that I think within me, there was a search for a guru at that time. So there's this thing that Swami said in that introduction, 100 years before, if you wanted a guru, you had to leave everything and go. And let's say even if you go, you might not even find a guru. You might, that lifetime gone. Mm-hmm. But let's say by chance, you found a guru. He will put you through 12 some 12 and a half years of heartbreaking sadhana, and then only he will initiate you in something. And that is what is being offered here for you. At that time, something clicked within me, and like, okay, I've reached my place. This is what I was looking for so long. And he says, like, don't think about what's happening in the program or not. You just, whatever is asked of you, you do it, like, do it to your best. And for the next 7 days, I remember I would do whatever was asked of me. I would, like, whether it was sharing or whatever was asked in the program, I would just give myself totally to it. And the initiation day happened. A lot of things are happening. People were having experience, but I was just happy to be there. I was not hunting for something to happen or anything, but I was just happy to be there and be involved in the process.
Yeah, I mean, if the third eye opens, that's great.
Yeah, that's an extra bonus. But people ask for certain moments in your life which you can never forget. So this is that moment for me. On the 7th day, there's a talk of Sadhguru, and Sadhguru just says, he says something like, close your eyes, and he says, if you are willing, I will be accessible to you in ways beyond your imagination. And at that time, all the pain that I was carrying from my childhood, something, it just went away from me. Like, so much things I was carrying away within me just went away. And I was like, how can you do this, Sadhguru? Like, how can you take away this? How can you be so real? And I started crying. Like, I think for half an hour I just cried, and that was that defining moment for me, that I knew, like, I have reached my place. I have reached home. Like, this is something that is will be there with me for always. So that was a turning point in my life. And I remember, because till that moment I was super stressed. My brother's marriage was happening, like that brother, my cousin, and I'm very close to him, and as his brother, I am the one who is supposed to take care of the things and manage things, and I'm not able to do any of that. I was just stressed out, and my family members were supporting me, telling, you don't need to do anything, it's okay, we will handle. When I was the one who's supposed to do that. But here I am in 7 days, in a moment it just shifted, and I'm sitting in my room waiting.
Okay, sorry, some disturbance at the door. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, where was I? Like, I was talking about
you were saying the things just dropped from...
Things just dropped, and I was talking about my brother's marriage, yeah. So, here, I'll just repeat it. So, I was really stressed, like, my brother's marriage was happening, and I, being his younger brother, I was supposed to be the one taking care of all the things. And here, at that moment, I was not able to do all of that. And my family were supporting me, like, you don't need to do anything, you just take care of yourself. And I was feeling literally bad that I'm not able to do anything for him, or, just take part, involve in the event, and just make it happen for him. And within these 7 days, a complete shift happened. Like, after that inner engineering program, I remember sitting with my food and eating, and I'm like, oh, how did this happen? How did this change happen within you, Vaisakh? Because when I look at it, till then I was trying to do big things to bring this transformation within me. But within the inner engineering program, as far as I remember, I did not do something miraculous. They were just simple instructions. Nothing. Yeah, exactly. I was just doing simply breathing in a certain way, doing certain things. And I'm totally different. That transformation has happened within me. Which before would take me to meet a psychologist, have counseling sessions for 2 to 3 hours, 2 to 3 weeks to have a little bit change.
Pop some pills.
Yeah, that's happened in such an effortless way. And I still remember I had called a lot of my friends from other states to attend the wedding, and I was so tense, like, will they come, will they not come? Like, I was the kind of guy, like, if they called and said I would not be able to come, Vaisakh, I'd be like, why? I had invited you, should have told me before. And now after inner engineering, some people, I had invited them, and at the last moment they would call me and like, hey Vaisakh, something has happened, I'm not able to come. I'm like, yeah, that's fine, no issues, don't come, it's okay, you are all right. So I had become that chilled out. And a lot of my friends came, and the entire marriage I was able to, I was in such a, I think, high. I have never, when people talk about being in a high, I don't know what a high is. But now when I look back at it, I think I was on a high of the, after inner engine, like, I was just doing my practices twice, and sleep just reduced. I was not like forceful sleep. Like I remember, and now it's not happening. Maybe it's because of my cheeseburger diet. But I remember after inner engineering, like usually I could not. When I wake up, it's like twisting and turning, and now also it's like that. But I remember very clearly, I would open my eyes and I'm good to go. I would just sit up. I'm good to go. Like it's as if I'm super energetic. That was the kind of energy that I had after initiation. So super chilled out, and the function happened. It happened very nicely. I was able to just do whatever was needed, like that kind of thing. And then I went to Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh, which is like a North Indian state, for my MPhil. And I was studying over there. And then there was this event called Lap of the Master. So for me, see, after I did inner engineering, it was conducted by a Swami. Sadhguru was not there. But for me, I never felt the need to see Sadhguru. Like I felt like he's with me. He has given me whatever I need. So this Lap of the Master came, and it's an opportunity to be with Sadhguru. He'll be there with all of us for 3 days. So I was like, no, I won't go. Why do I need to go? It's fine. I have got what I want. At that time I just came back to Kerala. So one of our volunteers in a local center, Somnath Anna, he asked me, Vaisakh, aren't you going for Lap of the Master? I'm like, no, why you're not going? You should go. I'm like, oh, okay, then I'll go. It was just, so I registered on the website. And I came to the Lap of the Master. So it was a big Adiyogi Alayam, the big hall. I was somewhere behind. People were asking questions and all that. People were asking a lot of questions. I did not have anything to. I'm like, yeah, nice, Sadhguru. I still remember when Sadhguru enters, he asks everyone to close his eyes. And then he starts chanting something. Everyone started going crazy. I'm like, what the hell? What's happening over here? I'm like sitting, but people are screaming, shouting. Okay, this is the first time I'm seeing something like this. But I was totally okay with it. It was not that, I'm in a crazy place or anything. I was open to all that. And then he was doing some meditation, and people were asking questions. I did not have any question to ask, but one Anna stands up and asks, Sadhguru, you have given so much to me. What can I offer you back? Like, there's so much gratitude within me. What can I offer you back? So I was like, when he asked that question, I was like, I would also want to have asked that question. Like, what can I give back to you? So Sadhguru answers is, I am not the person who expects something back. If there is something within you, you should allow it to burn within you so that it just explodes within you. That's all he said. And in the end, he said, this is the year Isha is going to just blow up. Like, we are going to do a huge amount of activity to help to reach out to people.
What year was that?
I did May 2018 inner engineering. So 2018 Lap of the Master, I think. Or should be 2019 Guru Purnima, something. Yeah. So he was like, if at all there is something, let's say he just said like this, if you have 5 to 10 minutes, please come to the ashram. Like whatever time you have, come to the ashram or in the local center, support in whatever way you can. And this just stayed within me. I went back to Lucknow. I was in my course, and this is just playing within me. I know this is what I want to do. This is the tool I was looking with which I could offer to other people. This is something that I can offer. Like offer in the sense, for me, offering was just volunteering in the inner engineering program. Because till then I had done so many things I thought would impact people, but in a way it was harming them. Because if I was not good, what can I offer? But for the first time in my life, I knew even if I just roll a mat in the inner engineering program, or if I just clean the toilets, I have done something which will actually transform people's life. Because that was what has happened for me. Someone was willing to arrange the hall. Someone was willing to clean the toilet. Someone was willing to teach the class for my inner engineering program. And those are all volunteers who were not getting paid. They were just willing to offer themselves. So it was because of them that it happened for me. So for me, if I could be that person for them, that would mean a lot to me. So so I decided to quit my course over there, and that's a big thing. You do not quit college courses in India. That's a big no. So I called my parents. I had to make the decision. I called my parents, I'm coming back. I don't care, I'll drive an Uber. That's even bigger. You don't drive an Uber. What? You don't do that. So it was for the... And I still remember till then I by that time I had a YouTube channel, like, a little bit YouTube channel I was doing, and I remember I was never open about my story. So I realized that if I really,
What were you doing on the YouTube channel?
so YouTube channel I was initially I started with mental health videos talking about psychiatric pills and all that, and then I went for men's style, how to dress properly. At that time I used to follow Alpha Men, Real Men, Real Style a lot.
Are those videos still up?
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay,
I kept it there so that people understand, like, this is how I evolved. I've not taken down any of those videos. Yeah. So you can see me with some straps and like how to insert your shirt properly so that they don't come out.
I totally know.
Yeah, it's a well watched video. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, and I still remember after my inner engineering program, I typed inner engineering review on YouTube. I thought, so such a nice program. Someone might have done a review on it, but there was nothing out there. So there was one video of one Anna, I think he's talking with a very something like that, and okay, if people watch this video they might not do inner engineering. So I was like, okay, I'll make a video. So I made a video talking about my experience, and I was genuine with it. I told I was facing some anxiety issues, and I did not explain anything inside the program or anything. I just made it like, this is what has happened. And after a few weeks that video clicked. I think suddenly a lot of comments started coming, people started watching it, and I also started replying to them. But one thing within me was, I always wanted to, the content creators that I used to follow then were Alpha Men, Real Men, Real Style. And what I liked about them, that even though the channel was about style, they were very open about their journey in life. I remember, like, this guy Alpha, he would cry on his podcast with some struggle. So that was something I would relate with him. So one thing somehow it was there within me was, I need to be genuine with my content. That was somewhere within me, like, do not try to gain audience or something like that. So I knew that if I really wanted to connect with people, I had to be vulnerable. But what vulnerable, not to
This dog.
Oh, mom came. Hello.
Okay, sorry, someone came home, but now we're back.
Yeah.
So
I was talking about content creation. Like, I used to follow Alpha and Real Men, Real Style, and they would be very genuine. Even though their channel was all about men's style, they could have just put it about what to wear. They would still talk about the struggles they're facing in life. I still remember them crying about some of the issues they're facing, and how being a man, it's all about being open to your emotions. So somehow within me, I connected with them because they were genuine. So I realized, if I really, really want to connect with my audience, I have to be vulnerable. And that vulnerability has to come from a place of happiness. It should not be like I want their sympathy or something. It should be because I'm okay with sharing it. And because of inner engineering, that happiness was within me. Suddenly, I did not think that me sharing this, and let's say if I shared about my depression and if someone commented bad about it or someone said this is bad, it would affect me. Somehow doing the inner engineering gave me a source of happiness within myself, where I do my practices and I was really chilled out. So I realized, let's say if I put out my video, even if my mom, because till that time I was dependent on my mom, what my parents would think about it. So before also I wanted to put out the video, but I didn't put it because they thought, no, you should not put it. It would affect your marriage chances. Mental health is not something you put it.
Arranged marriages.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, that's true. But after the inner engineering program, it did not matter to me, like, whether I get married or not, whether my parents think that, this is not right. I knew this needs to be done and I have to do it. So it was the first time I took out I had a camera, I had that lapel mic you talked about, and I put it and like, hey guys, I just want to share my story, and that I just put it out. And that was for the first time in my life, my mother did not talk to me for 1 month. Yeah,
month?
Yes, she saw the video and she was not at all happy. And that came from a place of caring for her. A son talking about his mental health meant, other people would look at her son like, oh, he has some issues. So for her, she thought like, my entire future is ruined because of it. I might not find a bride, and all those things I'm not sure. So for 1 month, she did not talk to me. Even my dad was okay with the video, but he was more angry that I was leaving the course. He was like, you just finish the course and come back. Why? Like, you can do inner engineering volunteering even after 2 years. And for me, that is true. I could have done inner engineering volunteering even after getting the degree. But the main thing I quit the course was not only because of inner engineering. As a psychologist, I had to work in mental health institutes. So when I would go to mental health institutes, sometimes I would have to observe them, and I would have to categorize them as depression or obsessive compulsive disorder or schizophrenia or whatever it is. And depending on that, they would be given medications, or even I think shock, I think, which is banned. I don't know
Shock
why.
therapy?
Yeah.
Like
Like the little shock therapy. That's the most harmful thing that you can do to a person. So I was not lit, and I saw that the psychiatric institute was such a dingy place. Like, let's say someone is depressed, you put them in a dark place with all these things, they're going to get more depressed and anxious. I myself was finding it hard to stay there. So this was not something that I wanted to do. Like, what's the use of me learning a lot about psychology? What's the use? What am I going to do with that degree? I was literally feeling like this is not, on one end this is there, and on one end Sadhguru and inner engineering, which is one of the most beautiful experience I have had. So for me, the choice was evident. I did not care whether my parents, I did not care about money. I was like, I'll come back home, I'll drive an Uber, I will just go for inner engineering volunteering. So that was my thing. And at that time, even though my parents did not, like I said, I had a lot of family support. Even though my mom and my dad were a little bit hesitant, my mom's twin sister, my auntie, she was very supportive. She said, it's okay. Like, she understood me, and she said, it's okay, don't worry, you come back home. Like, don't stay there stressed, or don't worry about anything, you just come back home. So I came back home, and at that time, some of my cousins are also stopped talking to me because I was doing random things, because this is not something that they understood, going for a yoga program. Yoga is okay, but leaving everything for it and all that stuff. So that was a bit of a hard phase during that time, and I also did something very, very unnecessary, and I think right now very wrong also. I tried to tell them that you also need to do inner engineering, like this is a nice program and you should do it. I think maybe that was also one of the reasons why that resistance game. Now when I look back, I was super foolish at that time. I did not realize, like, the spiritual process or something has to happen on its own. Like, after volunteering for many inner engineering programs, I have realized that. I've seen a lot of people go through the same program, like, what the hell is this? I still don't like it. I still remember one incident. There was this, I hope it's okay to share, or maybe you can cut it off, I'll just share it. There was this one guy who had messaged me, like, he wanted to do inner engineering program. He did it, and then I met him in the ashram also. He's like, yeah, it's a nice place. And like a few weeks later, I got a message from him saying, yes, Sadhguru is such a fake guru, what are you guys doing from Isha Foundation? Oh, so it was like a wake up call for me. I understood that just because someone goes to inner engineering or does the program doesn't necessarily mean they're going to all be very happy, or they're all going to do the practices regularly. It depends on how they receive it. Yeah. So there's a lot of individual difference on how they receive it. So that was one of the things. So yeah, I came back home, and I wanted to somehow escape from my family, I think, because it was not. So I thought I'll go for Rally for Rivers. At that time, Sadhguru had started Rally for Rivers, and he had told, I want Indian youth to take 2 years of that. 2 or 3 years? How many was it? 2 years, I think. Something like, without thinking about what they will get, they should offer themselves. So I was like, okay, this is something I can do. So
what was your understanding of what that program was at the time?
Rally for Rivers. Mm-hmm. So what I understood was the rivers in India, dying, and no one was willing to take it up to rejuvenate the rivers. And finally, Sadhguru was taking it up. And at that time, this is one sentence he says, Swami Vivekananda wanted 100 youth who could just be willing. And at that time, after my inner engineering program and all, I was at a super willing position. I was very willing at that time. Right now, I'm not. At that time, I remember I was very willing, and I was like, I can do this. Because I wanted to involve myself in something where it's not about me, it's about someone else. So Rally for Rivers under Sadhguru's guidance seemed like the perfect thing for me. For me, my idea at that time, I did not know volunteering can get very intense. I did not know volunteering can get very intense, that sometimes you won't get time for sadhana. My idea was that you go for volunteering, you will get enough time. They will first so much time for sadhana, then only you need to do. So I am lucky I did not get Rally for Rivers now when I think about it. So I jumped the story. So I applied for Rally for Rivers. I cleared the interview and all that. But the medical part I couldn't clear because I had the history of seizures. Maybe that's why they rejected me. I'm not sure. But when that came, when I was told that, this is not, maybe this might not be the right for you. I was a bit sad. Oh, why? Sadhguru wanted this. I'm willing. I can come. But then Sadhguru always says this, you always make plans. I'm just paraphrasing it or rephrasing it, I think. You always have plans for yourself. But if that doesn't happen, that is the best. Because life has its own plans. So I was like, oh, maybe that's it. And
some other thing.
yeah, now when I look back at it, that was great, because at that time my YouTube was slowly started picking up, and people were reaching out to me and I was messaging them back, and I even applied for Sadhana Pada, the second Sadhana Pada also, and that also didn't happen. And that happened actually. I still remember the Swami. I was on my way to the ashram and the Swami called me for some program. Swami called me, Vaisakh, your Sadhana Pada is approved. You can come. And I was like, no, Swami, I'm not coming. I don't know why I said that, but at that time I actually wanted to escape from my family, because parents were like, what is this, what is happening, what are you doing?
Oh, why didn't you want to go then?
Because that's what, but because why I didn't want to go then was I was putting YouTube videos and people were messaging me like how to go to inner engineering, and I realized that what is stopping people from reaching the ashram is not some big things. They just don't know that there's a program called inner engineering happening in their city. They actually thought just like me that you need to go to the ashram, you have to spend your lifetime over there. They did not know that there is a local center where you can just spend 3 hours for 7 days. They did not know like there is no food restrictions, you can eat anything. So these were the small things that were stopping them from actually going for the program, and I was replying to them on a basis. So I realized like, why did I leave my entire course for? To help people to find this program. And now if I can do it through my social media, if I go for Sadhana Pada, how will it happen? So somehow, even though situations at home were not conducive, I still decided to make that. But again, at that time I was not sure about YouTube and I was very confused. But now I remember you came, Anna. You yeah, and you were asking who made us in contact. Minu, you.
Oh, that's right. Minu. How could I forget? Minu, I'm so sorry. Don't hit me.
Yeah. Minu's actually gonna kill us.
Yeah, shout out to Minu.
Yeah, and because I still remember, I'll tell you, I'll be very honest, like, I was going huge on Instagram. So suddenly I'm checking my photos, like, oh, this is pretty hot girl who has followed me back. I'm like, who is this? I'm like, Meenakshi, oh my God, she's a supermodel. And then she sent me a message, hey, Vaisakh, I'm from Australia. And, we started talking like that. Yeah. So, and then, I don't know, she became very close. Like, I felt like I was talking to my very old friend. So I started talking to her and, like this. And said, somehow we talked about YouTube and all this stuff. And he's like, I know my friend Heath, you have to talk to him and like that. Or was it Sravanyaka? Like,
no,
Heath only, no? Yeah.
Also, we never met Meenu till now.
Yeah.
But we are also like super close.
Yeah.
But she reached out to me on Instagram too.
Yeah.
So there was just like
I haven't also personally met her.
Yeah. We need to take a trip to Australia this year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So that's when I called you. I was like very super confused at that time, and I did not have a clarity of what I was doing. I was just doing something, and I also didn't know. And I would like you to tell me like, how was that called? If you remember, like, what was it like? What place I was coming from?
I just remember you had like something like 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And you were just using this little lapel mic.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? What is this guy doing? So, I don't know. I think you already had all of the, like, competence. You just needed that little poke so that you could take yourself seriously. That's really all you needed. And I was just like,
Yeah.
Go do it. Get a camera.
But that poke is very significant. That poke, if that poke is not there, I could have literally gone back like, this is not for me. I would have taken maybe my dad's thing or something. I don't know. Like because there are certain times no one understands, like as a content creator, like what needs to be done. There are certain things. Yeah. I still remember, one person called me. He wanted this. I do not know where to set my boundaries. So I called you like, if something happens. And one thing that I like about you is like, you first say, I don't know, but you say like, maybe this is how it is. You do not put your this is the solution. You put various alternatives like this, and you allow me like to choose from that. So that was like something very like needed for me at that time, and even still is.
Yeah, I think like at some point I thought like, you need to make money, right? Why don't you just sell some t-shirts or something? And then you somehow found that who was that that came up with the designs? Yeah, some of them like really gorgeous designs. I was like, yeah, he's doing it. But I think the best moment for me was when you said that your dad was or your parents were like watching your videos and like supporting you, and they're like, oh, let the ad play, he needs the money.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I love this. I loved your parents so much for that.
That's very true. Like I still read comments. Like something for me is like the connect with the audience. I still read comments. Like the comments are like, Anna, I still watch your ads. That's how connected I feel. They are so genuinely connected with me. Like they are willing to watch ads for me. So that is how close my audience. And I still do not put it for myself. I always see it's not because of me. It's because it's like I'm able to help them to reach Sadhguru. It's all his grace that, it's because of the integrity and genuineness with what he's offering that I am able to get a bit of that in my own life. So it's a very huge privilege for me to be able to do that. I'm just, every day I see that, I do not misuse or, try to keep it as pure as possible in whichever way that I can. So it's just, that's what I'm just getting a free ride on his wave. That's what I see it as.
Yeah. So I mean, you started that channel doing all these like style tips and whatever.
Yeah.
And you got into all this. What do you want to do with it going forward?
Going forward, I would want to maybe expand it into multiple languages, the same content, dub it into various multiple languages, and maybe even hire a content a cameraman or someone, who could totally document this. Because when Sadhguru is right here, right now, because the autobiography of a yogi, that book is from a seeker's perspective. So how I got connected to that book is because it shows a seeker's journey, like how Yogananda Paramsa is with his guru, the struggles that it's very raw. It does not talk about the guru like, oh, the guru says I'm following it. He talks about the guru says I'm not going to follow this. I want to go here and there. So that is the same thing I'm facing. Even though I feel Sadhguru is my guru, I have my own struggles with him. I have my own tribulations with him, and through my content I'm just trying to document that. And that is why I feel a lot of people connect with me, because I do not try to portray something that is not happening within me. It's whatever is happening within me, that's how I'm showing it. So I just want to make that possibility happen for a lot of people. Maybe seeing my content is something that helps them to follow a spiritual path which will lead them to their ultimate possibility. So in today's world, content is that thing. Like content is the way, and in which it touches people even for buying a smartphone, even for buying let's say a mic, they look on Google YouTube reviews. So if I can, and the one thing with that is they are constantly being bombarded by ads and everything. Everyone wants to sell them something. So when everyone wants to sell them something, people actually have the natural gut feeling when they see something very genuine or something. And the only way to be genuine is to just be genuine. You can't fake being genuine.
To be vulnerable.
Yeah, to be vulnerable and for me, since I follow Gary Vee, I know that the only way is to just be yourself and maybe just show whatever is you just show it. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. So I hope, I'm able to expand this content and put it in multiple languages, so that, let's say, because I understand, let's say Isha Foundation and Sadhguru puts out a lot of content, but it's just like, we all want an outside perspective. Whenever we are buying something, even let's say it's an Apple iPhone, we want to see the review of someone outside. We won't check the review of Apple because
what's the YouTube video with the reviews, like unboxing and all this.
Because that's how, like, even I also, when I want to do something, that's how I am also. So people want an outside perspective, and I think that is why maybe I can give that outside perspective in a different way. And like, just like I had a lot of misconceptions about the path of spirituality, that one has to be a monk. Definitely that possibility also exists, that should also be there, but there's a family life also possible. Anything, like spiritual path means anything. You can be anywhere in the world, but you just need to have a room to do your practices. So
space.
A little space where you can put your yoga mat for some time, and and slowly you will understand that yoga mat will become your whole life. Like, slowly, whatever you do, you can. And that's something that I'm struggling with right now. I do my sadhana, but there are a lot of struggles within me right now. A lot of things have started popping back up. But slowly, whatever I go, the one thing that has stayed with me is, like I said, like, whenever my depression used to come back, I would crash fully. And coming out of it would be very hard. But right now, even when I crash, there is something within me which does not allow it to go beyond a certain point. And I know it will stay there. So that base is there with which I can slowly come back up. So I think that possibility should be available for everyone, that no matter what happens, they know there is something not outside, but within themselves they can always surely depend upon, and that will always be available to them if they are willing to. So accessible Sadhguru is right now, and I just want to make sure he wants to touch 7 billion people. I just want to aid him in reaching that extra 1,000 people, which will make that 7 billion possible, maybe.
So at this point, you're getting, I'm sure, tons of messages and comments and all this kind of stuff, right? What's been do you have any like funny interactions or meaningful things people have sent?
The most meaningful are when kids are very, I think young kids, and they do not connect with, if they have I think they have a genuine sense of knowing what is real and what is fake. So when a young kid reaches out to me and says, I want to do inner engineering, and that touches me. Like, they say they saw my video and they start watching Sadhguru, and now they love him and they would love to do inner engineering. I look back at what was I doing at 15 years old. I was just watching, I don't know, some random shit. But here these kids are so willing, and they're little girls and little boys for whom Sadhguru means a lot. And that is really touching for me, that they do the inner engineering program, they do Ekadashi fasting. So that has to be a genuine process over there. It has to be something super genuine out there. And sometimes even I get the question, like, what am I doing? Even though, I get a lot of people messaging, I'm like, is this actually needed? Like, what am I doing? And then I get these messages like, someone might have been into depression, they might have, thought about going for suicide or something like that. And then they saw my video, and then they started watching Sadhguru videos, and then they did the inner engineering program, and now they're living so happily. So that's when I realized, okay, this needs to happen. This really means a lot. So that those are really touching moments for me. At the same time, yes, definitely hate comments are also there. That's a part of it. Like,
what's the best mean comment?
Best mean comment is like, dude, you're doing all this sadhana, you're still eating biryani, you're not at all spiritual. What the hell, bro?
Something I found to be very true, not just with social media, but just generally, is that your network is everything. So what kind of people have opened up to you is networking wise because you've started this social media journey? Well, I guess what kind of opportunities or doors have been opened?
Oh my God. It's very beautiful. Now, let's say wherever I go, people just come to me, they meet me, they share their entire life with me. It's so beautiful. They see, some people see me like their brother, some people see me like my son. Right now I'm in US, I'm with you guys. This is all because of this. And one of the things is I'm going to Dallas where Apraka is. I've never met her, but she sees me like her younger brother. She says, you have to stay at home, you have to be here. So this is so touching for me. People just love me for who I am, and they're willing to be with me, and I'm able to share my moments with them. So it's just, even with my family, like initially they were like, Sadhguru is fake, this is that, all the Isha people, they might be into all this kind of
They're stealing kidneys.
yeah,
and
stealing
whatever.
kidneys and all. But with my content, I notice is my parents are actually watching my content, and now when they see, they're like, oh, Isha people are very nice people, they do their things, they're working for this thing. So even though they are not into Isha or doing any practices, they still see that Sadhguru is doing something that is most needed for the world. They see the kind of human beings he's creating for the world. So somewhere deep within them, they understand like this is something beautiful happening. Maybe they're not willing to acknowledge it like that, but they know it, like it is happening. So it's only because of my content that this has happened for me. And for that, I would like to thank Gary Vee also, because from him also, I learned a little bit way of documenting stuff, just putting raw content. So yeah, and that's why I'm here in US to go for his conference. Like for me, he also means a lot to me, even though I haven't met him or I haven't seen him, but his content has helped me a lot in figuring out my own content a bit, and to also understand this very important thing, that it's not the number of subscribers. That is not what matters. It actually matters to put out content which actually means something to me, and which adds value to other people. So for me, still today, I do not look at what is the number of likes or anything. I want to make sure I try to reply to the number of comments. I try to reply to the queries, which I was doing even when I had 100 subscribers. Till this date, I try to do that, because that's why I started this channel for, and I still try to be there. Because he is someone with millions of followers, he has multi-billion businesses, but he still replies to the comments. So if he can do it, means not to the large scale, he still says it's up to each person to decide. Maybe I cannot reply everyone, but he still replies. So that really touches me, like someone of his thing, he still cares for people, he still adds value to them in whichever way is possible. So for me, I have Sadhguru like with so much powerful tools. So if he can do it for his businesses and for his content, when my guru is there, why can't I be able to do that for him?
So I like to sort of wrap these interviews up by looking at the future a little bit.
Okay.
So we'll just start simply like, what's if you had to guess what's going to happen in the next 5 years, what do you think?
He's getting married.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right. You're getting married.
Yes, I'm getting married. Arranged marriage.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, cheeseburger. Calm down. We're going to get it soon.
What does... I ask this because there's really no concept hardly at all, except maybe if you're in an Indian community of like arranged marriages in the US. So what's that? Because you've seen lots of Western content, movies and stuff. So what is it? How do you look at it? Arranged marriages and other, like, I guess they call love marriage. Like, how do you view it all?
So the thing is, I initially thought I wanted to get... because I saw this arranged marriage casting, so I was kind of like a rebel against my parents. So I was going against arranged marriage because I did not want to get the satisfaction that I married according to them. So I was like, I will not do arranged marriage. I'll fall in love with a girl. I'll do like that. But then I realized I'm not capable of it. Like it is, I might fall into patterns where I might choose someone who is actually not good for me. I might just go for the looks or something that is initially very attractive, but maybe that is not what is needed for me. So I realized, okay, maybe arranged marriage is a better thing, because when I look at it, my parents love me. They would anyway choose someone who can support me, who is, there will be a little bit, family support, and I felt it is good. So I agreed to them, let's go for the arranged marriage. Sure. I just wanted this thing that, I will be open about all my journey, because in India, still mental health things, it's still a bit of a taboo. So I was very open, like, I will be doing my YouTube thing. Like even for marriage, I won't take down any of my videos, and I would need to talk to the girl, and their family also should know entirely. And my parents were also that we should definitely talk to their family and all that. So like that.
Well, I have to say, because Shrav and I just got married, you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
And so if you're watching this, if you didn't notice or you don't know who Vaisu is somehow, he was there and vlogging and making all these videos. So first of all, thank you, because we have tons of content from our wedding that we probably wouldn't have had otherwise. And secondly, it was crazy because I kept getting people walking up to me being like, "Oh, Heath, I saw you from Vaisu's channel." Like, who are you? But it was a surreal experience, and I'm really glad that you were able to come, not just for the Ashram wedding, but the one in Shrav's hometown, because it was a lot of fun.
That was crazy. Big music, Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse and Eric.
Telugu movie.
Went and saw movies. It was just fantastic. I'm really glad that was able to happen. So, I just cannot wish you more. Just so much love, and I really cannot wait to see how your wedding and everything unfolds, and I guess the rest of your life. That'll be fun, but I'm sure it'll be on the vlog. So
Thank you, and I'm so happy that I'm here for this podcast. I've shared this journey on a few podcasts, but I think I haven't gone so detailed into so many of my things, and thank you so much for having me here, and for giving me this space and this opportunity. And it's I don't know, there's something I feel when I'm with you, like I can share anything, and I think that's a space like every guy should have in their life. I hope the men watching this, they have someone like Heath Anna in their life, with whom they can share and talk to. So thank you for having me, and thank you Sravanyaka for being there behind the camera, switching it tuck.
Well, I mean, if you want to thank me, the easiest way to do that would be to do the chili challenge.
Oh my God, yes, we'll be doing the chili challenge for Safe Soil. You need to go to the grocery to get that chili.
Oh God. Okay, we're gonna do that before you go. And real quick, because it is super important, and you just brought it up, Safe Soil. If you guys don't know what that is, do you want to just give a quick recap?
Oh my God.
What is Safe Soil in a nutshell?
No, you have to give it. Who is the best about Safe Soil? I know, but
okay. Real quick, I say this because
he's the technical one. He will be able to say
the technical one.
Yeah.
So this is super important. I'm just putting this in there because there's a movement right now to raise awareness of the fact that our soil is degrading, and that's kind of important. Like we need that for food and stuff. So, and but not just that. Soil's a fantastic way that we can sequester carbon out of the atmosphere to battle climate change. In terms of water retention, I mean, if you go to savesoil.org, there's so much information on it, but presented in a way that's very easy to understand.
Yeah.
If you just look up for hashtag Save Soil, I think that's the hashtag, right?
Yeah,
you'll find so much content where people have made, and you can see more about it. But most importantly, if we all, like the simplest thing is if we just start talking about soil right now, we can get enough people talking that we can influence what's going on at these big conventions with public leaders. And that's how we actually get policy in place to handle this. So I just ask you to take a little bit of your time and just Google it, just see, because this is really important, and it's really about creating soil for the future, which is very important to me. Yeah. I mean, I want to have a future.
I want to have a cheeseburger in future.
He wants cheeseburgers. You need soil for that.
Yeah. So. And one thing is, I'm amazed at how the most complicated problems in the world, Sadhguru is able to make it so simple with so effective solutions. It's like, why the hell didn't I think about this before?
Yeah. The most interesting one, he was saying, why are we labeling food as organic when instead we can label it by the percentage of organic content, which is much easier to measure and more useful.
Yeah, true.
Little things like that just blow my mind. But Anyway, that's my plug.
Yeah.
Just had to say it just in case you never heard about it.
Yeah.
Vaisu, it has been a real pleasure, and I will get you with that chili.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for doing this.
Okay. Thank you, Anna.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that's it, guys. Before we go, do you have any last words of wisdom or anything you want to share?
No, just enjoy your life. Be happy. And do not do the chili challenge.
What? Learn from his mistakes. Okay, that's all. Thanks, everybody.
Plug in your channel.
Yeah. What plugs you got?
Oh yeah, my Instagram handle is Vaisu90 and my YouTube is my name, Vaisakh Sabu. So yeah, you can just Google it, you will find it.
Everything will be in the description.
Yeah.
And what?
You just beat it.
Well, I mean, they're already watching that. Okay,
Subscribe.
check me out on Meet Your Species, which you're already doing. Yeah, I think that's it. So
can they find this on Spotify and all?
Yeah, it's on all the things. I use Anchor. Okay. So
yeah, you always told me about Anchor, and I was day one from Anchor.
This is Anchor.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love you all. Have a great day, and we shall talk to you the next time that we talk to you. Bye.